Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, race fans. Welcome to the 6-hour Esports series here at RCI. We're back for another thrilling round, this time at the iconic Watkins Glen International Racing Circuit. This series certainly has been a rollercoaster so far of action, strategy and intense competition. From the sun-soaked Kyle Army to the rain-soaked Silverstone, we've seen it all. Today, we're excited to witness another chapter unfold. With a mix of experienced drivers and rising stars, each team is fighting tooth and nail for every position, every lap. You join us midway through qualifying here. As we can see, we've got the 71 Aston Martin there, driven by Mr. Blonwald, and certainly with a very quick time of a 1:42.4. We've got great conditions today with no clouds at all at the moment, with an ambient air temperature of 24 degrees, and the track is very warm as well. And I'd like to introduce you all to who's joined me in the booth today. We've got the fantastic Matt Malcolm, who's going to be joining me with the co-commentary today. We've got the fan favourite, Jesse Lee, behind the cameras, bringing us these great pictures for you all to see. And we've also got next to us in the booth, we've got next door to us, we've got the live stewards, of course, and they'll be keeping a keen eye for any untowards and maybe some incidents that hopefully are minimal but inevitable, as we say. And lastly, of course, let's thank you all for joining us, and it's fantastic that you all do join us for these great events, and please of course use the chat, communicate to us and let us know your thoughts, but also if you're enjoying the stream, please remember to like, and if you can, hit that subscribe button to give yourself some warnings, notifications of when we're next on. But anyway, as we go on into qualifying, we've just got over 10 minutes left. I'm going to pass over to Matt now and ask for his thoughts.
Yeah, hello everybody and welcome to round 3, where we only just reached the halfway point. Currently we're sitting on the 71 Renwelton car, which if you were able to catch on their back spoiler, you can see they've written down "Catch me if you can," and yet nobody has yet to catch them. They have been dominating through Kyle Army. They sneaked across the win at Silverstone, so they're the ones that the rest of the competition are trying to catch, and here we are. They're still on provisional pole with just less than a 10th in it. Right now we're currently sitting in with Lucas Bargrold over in the 23 or in the 20 car for Ferrari. It certainly is a lot of competition coming in. We've got a lot of drivers within the top 20 being within half a second off, so there's definitely a lot of competition coming in for everybody else. So it certainly is going to be cracking up to be a lot of stiff competition anywhere between the mid-pack all the way to the front, Les.
Certainly is, Matt. I mean, it's what we've had so far in the first 2 rounds, of course, at Kyle Army and Silverstone. A very wet Silverstone, may I add. We had some great racing, but as you've already mentioned, Renwelton came out on top in both races and are currently sort of leading the way. But it has been closer than it sounds, and I have no doubt that today won't be any different. So it will be just as close as what we've already had, and we are reaching that midpoint of the season, where we have. We come here to Watkins Glen, a great circuit, I must say, definitely a favourite of mine. It's a very interesting circuit, as when you look at all the others available to us, and turn 1 is so important today for every team. It's very surprising just how much you lose in lap time at just one corner. It's so important with that long drive all the way up to the bus stop chicane. Relying on that engine power and that final drive, in top gear to get you that top end speed to really gain a lot of lap time. But turn 1, like I said, is very important. The rest of the circuit gives us, lots of great corners. Actually, we've got a mixture of fast sweeping and very slow hairpin type corners, and then we get towards the end of the track where we've got a couple of fast sweeping corners where really that rear end really wants to step out, and some cars handling better than others. But of course, with this 6-hour Esports series, we do have a custom BOP that's been applied, and it sort of really brings those teams that little bit closer together and equalises, hopefully, as much as possible to bring much closer and better racing. But Matt, obviously going back to those previous 2 rounds, I don't expect qualifying and the race to be any different. We're going to be looking at lots of these teams very, very close to each other. I mean, I'm already witnessing easily up to the top 20, all within half a second. And I don't know about you, Matt, but I think these last 6 or so minutes are going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, certainly. And I just want to bring back to the point you were talking about with turn 1. Definitely, it's going to be one of the most hardest corners if you want to take full advantage of getting the full speed. I mean, even though for myself, when you have like application data, so with say for example one of our sponsors, Go Setups, they have their own sort of proprietary telemetry tool that I've been using, and every time I see that I'm about half a second off when it comes to turn 1 towards that end of that straight. So how these drivers do it, it just perplexes me. But again, there's a lot of different characteristics along with this track, a lot of great parts here, especially with the boots at sector 3 as well. But with the way with it being fast sweeping corners, lots of like very hard turning sections here, one of the biggest things that our drivers are going to be dealing with today is it's really the graining and possibly even blistering, depending on how hot this track is. I mean, there's currently track temperature is 32 degrees, so we're going to see a lot of graining and potentially some blistering with some of the cars. And with this series having limited tire sets, it's certainly going to be a bit painful for some of the people that are going to be double sticking their tires.
Yeah, well mentioned there, Matt. We do, for those that don't know, we do have a limited tyre sets of 4 sets available during the race. During this qualifier session, tyre sets are unlimited. Yeah, that is definitely a great point raised there. And tyres are going to be a big thing today, especially with these temperatures. But as we focus back on qualifying, look at that, Matt. I mean, the top 5 separated by 1/10 of a second is just... It's just ridiculous to say. It's ridiculously close. I'm hoping this is the close competition that we're going to have during the race as well. But even just to say, the top 3 separated by 300ths of a second it's insane. But yeah, we're going to watch out these last 5 minutes now as we see Aidan Walshingham in that 800 Ferrari getting a 42.4. It's not the quickest time I've seen around here before, but it's certainly very, very close and very, very impressive. As Abeladze in the 255 there gets a 42.3, Matt.
Yeah, it's certainly great. It's great to see them back up. They definitely take the podium on Kyle Lamy. A little bit of a disappointing result over at Silverstone, but they're still second on the standings at the minute, so there's still plenty of points to grab for a lot of these drivers here. As we see Alexander Lee coming out to do their final sort of qualifying laps being put in. But so a lot of these drivers here are going to be trying to take the full advantage with 4 minutes remaining, Les.
Yeah, I mean the 255 competition car, really setting the bar there at the 42.3. I mean, Abeladze is extremely quick, and as I'm being told in my ear now by Jesse Lee, there are no cars in pit lane. This is definitely the business end now towards the end of this qualifying, and we're going to see some times really being laid down by these guys and girls out there on track now. So now we've got. I have predictions, Matt. I wanted to mention them before we got talking about qualifying. So I don't know about you, Matt, but I definitely had predictions of actually the 255 competition car being very near the top. I actually had them down as favourites for the qualifying time after watching some of the practice laps being completed today. And I just thought I'd ask you, what were your predictions today?
I mean, currently Ren Welton has certainly showed themselves that they can be right at the top as the likes of Walshingham and the 800 Ferrari, but again, anybody can take it. Anywhere between at any point can find that time unexpectedly and take the pole position, but it certainly is close, and the 255 definitely has a 10th within it, so we are reaching to the point of where all of our drivers are at their top of the limit. So it'll be interesting to see what the rest of the drivers will be willing to provide as qualifying coming up to the end of it. So, I don't know if you'll pay attention, Les. 36. We have 39 cars on track today. 36 of them are within a second.
Well, I'll be honest, I did notice it, but more to the point, we had Jesse Lee getting extremely excited in our ears in the background, which you guys obviously are unfortunate not to hear. But yeah, it's we're just hearing as well 71 Ren Welton car having the invalidated lap there, but they've still got just over 2 minutes left to go, so there's plenty of time to set the ultimate time as they go around again. But Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. 36 cars, all within a second of each other. This race is going to be extremely close. I mean, I know it's an endurance race and many things can happen within these 6 hours, but it's just proving that it's going to be an extremely close race. I honestly thought that the Aston Martins, where they've been so strong, they're going to be equally as strong here today. But it's surprising to see the Ferrari it just works well at this track. With the custom BOP being applied as well. Bringing it all of that a little bit closer, and it's just proof is in the pudding, as they say, and we're getting to see that today, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, with the Ferrari itself, it's very heavily dependent on its turbo. So having Watkins Glen being fast-paced, lots of the fast corners with very little areas of where it really needs to be properly slow, it's given full advantage to these Ferrari drivers, which gives it a full keen advantage when it comes to that, because low-end torque is definitely the weakest point of that Ferrari, and I think that's what sets it apart with the rest of the other cars, with the with any sort of the turbos included. Like, I think the Aston is a dual turbo, if I'm not mistaken, Liz.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes. Yeah, you're correct there, Matt. Keep going.
Yeah. So like the likes of the Ferrari, there's definitely gonna be full keen points into there, but also the Lamborghinis as well. They were also putting a good competition in. But the one thing I'm kind of surprised on, the Fords aren't really up near the very top. We did see that during the community series last week. We saw that the Fords were able to pull off a really good qualifying laps and really good stints. So it's weird to see that they're not as high as, say, the likes of the Aston and the Ferraris.
Yeah, very interesting you say that. And as we got 10 seconds left for people to start their last qualifying lap, I honestly think we're sort of getting near to the end of that sort of ultimate lap time in today's conditions. So I think as the checkered flag now comes out for qualifying, I think if we do see any improvements, it's going to be very, very, very small improvements. But of course, with the field being so close, that small improvement could take you up that ranking very quickly. So as we see Luke Whitehead there finishing off his qualifying lap with just over a tenth off the pole time. But Abeladze really set the time there. We're just watching the Ren Welton car, the number 71 Aston Martin here, going around the final sector now of Watkins Glen. This is really only the sort of second corner that's like the slowest of the track. We're now going over to the two fast left-handers. Oh, sorry, we've got one fast left-hander, one fast right-hander. I must say. Then as we're sitting now going around the last part of this lap, can they improve their time and get that pole position that they require? Let's see as they now approach the finish line. Oh, he hits the wall. Hits the wall. Very
really
common.
Affect their time. So as they go across the line, it's a small improvement. It was an improvement, but it was not enough. That was literally 100th there, Les. That was if they didn't get that huge shunt there, that could have easily have been a pole time there, I would say.
Yes, completely. I think hitting that wall, like you said, it just took away all that momentum. As we see now, we're having a few little issues in the broadcast booth here, but as we just see now as we just see now the 202 completing their qualifying just over 7/10 off the pole time. So we see Walshingham now also finishing off their qualifying session, and we'll just see the last few cars just popping over, and there we go. We are complete. Qualifying is complete. What a session that was, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly been a great one with the 255 competition. Yeah, so the BOP is definitely it's been very well balanced with a lot of these cars here. So there's not a lot of time between a lot of these cars here, but it's great seeing the 255 competition take pole here, alongside with the 73 Ferrari. Walshingham taking that third place. But Ren Welton, I'd say, is the biggest losers here, taking fourth. That's really gonna impact their winning streak so far. So they have to pull off everything within the race, but everybody else with it, like, you can't even see where half a second is on this board here. So it's definitely been shaping up as we start to scroll down. Yeah, so anywhere between the top 21 is all people that have been half a second as we keep going down through the list here, all through the different cars that are coming through. Unless sadly it's gone, Les. But a second within a lot of the drivers here. It's really close. It's going to be really close going into this race.
Apologies there. I think we had a small issue there with the with the audio. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the Red Welton car, yes, they did qualify in pole in our first race, but in the second race, not, but still ended up winning. So that doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to win today. But as you can see now on screen, we've got our entry list for this great series. We've got lots of great names and great teams, and Brabham Motorsport, Veloce. We've got Sky Sim Sport and Gladius Competitions. Madcap Racing, West Competition Racing. There's plenty of talent and upcoming stars that have come into this great series. So we can see it's going to be. I'm sure there's another page to come, but there's some great names in there, as you can see, and there we go, lovely, as you can see, and we've got the Williams Academy in here as well. That have entered, and like I said, it's there's such talent in there, Matt, isn't there? And it's just this is what makes our series so great.
Yes, I mean 39 cars in here today, with even a brand new team also signing up halfway is the BS Plus competition car as well. As they've signed up halfway through the series, they are going to be given a 5-place grid penalty, but that's not going to stop them from trying to gain as much points as they can. But yeah, plenty of teams on here, and again, thank you to every one of those teams and every one of these people that signed up and decided to race with us for this series.
Yeah, well said, man. And like you said, with that 5-place grid penalty, with a 6-hour race, it's not too detrimental. But yeah, we're now. I understand we're now going to see the standings for so far after these first 2 races. And as you can see, and we've already mentioned, we've got Ren Welton at the top there with 150 points. We've got the 255 competition car with the 130 points. Veloce Esports, the number 55 car with 120 points. The sister team, the number 39 with 110 points in 4th place. We've got the Coach Academy car in the Ferrari, of course, with the 101 points. Veloce Esports, the number 800 with 101, tied, obviously, with Coach Dave Academy. In 7th place, we've got CRT Pro with 97 points. RCI Esports Blue Team in that 769 Bentley with the 93 points. Visceral Esports number 45 with 90 points in 9th place. Gladius Competitions 201 car with 83 points. MGITJ setups with 76 points in 11th place. And rounding out that top 12, home of Sim Racing Esports in the Ford Mustang, it was 74 points. Matt, take away the next page.
Certainly will do. As we move over to the next page, we've got the Ren Moulton Fork Knights 13th with 74 points, alongside with the Williams Academy of the 777 at 69 points. At 15th, we have got the Visceral Esports 44 car with 67 points, with BF Racing Esports at 64 points at 16th. We got Ren Moulton for Future at 17th with 60 points, along with West Competition Racing with 52. Sky Sim Sports, so currently on 51 points, along with Ren Moulton for Friends at 44 points at P20. Running on to the next point here is Gladius Competition 202 with 43 points at 20, with 43 points. SDR Esports with 43 points as well, as they tie along with Gladius Competition, so getting some points there will definitely increase their chance of getting an additional spot. G-Leg Esports Elite with 40 points at 23rd, and to round off the 24th position with Brabham Motorsports 52 with 33 points. As we move over towards the next page, so we start off at 25th with Vesta Sport with 33 points. Dynamic Motorsports by Lynch with 32 points. At 27th, we've got Skidmark Racing with 27 points. And at 28th, we got Brabham Motorsports 62 with 25 points. At 29th, we got RCI Esports Red with 23 points. With running out the top 30, we have Flyby by Prime at 22 points. 31st, we got Madcap Racing with 22 points, with Valenzo Seropi Racing with 21 points. Prime E Racing GT3 is 33rd with 19 points, with Low Fuel Motorsport Esports at 34th with 18 points. With the Drive Just Boys Classic at 17 points at 35th. We've also got Team Nitro running off the 36th place with 15 points. As we move over to the next page, I'll over to you, Les.
Yeah, no worries, Matt. And as you can see, we got 37th position. We got the Pratton Buja Esports team with 12 points. We've got the Williams Academy number 776 with 10 points. 5 Star Racing with 10 points as well, so tied in 38th place. Flyby Esports with 8 points. Gladius Competitions number 46, my favourite number, with 7 points. And Drive Just Boys FU2 car with 5 points. And of course, as you can see, the newly arrived team, the BS Plus competition car with 0. And you can see the little asterisks there to denote they are joining mid-season. So, as we can see, Matt, we've got a real big field there. 43 teams battling out to try and gain as many points as possible for that end goal, of course, at the end of the season, or the end of the series, sorry, to gain that overall P1 position. And yeah, I mean, what a qualifying session that was. I can't get over how close that was. It was great to see. Proof of the pudding, like I said, with sort of the BOP, but also the great driving out there, Matt.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's certainly a lot of different aspects of what sets away from the normal drivers to those esports drivers there. I mean, a lot of these drivers here put a lot of time, they put a lot of effort into trying to get into these racing series and try and prove that they are the best of what they can do. I mean, yes, there's going to be a lot of different impacts when it comes to the likes of, say, the point system and everything like that. We're only halfway there. There's still 3 rounds to go at Monza, Spa, and I think the last one being at Barcelona. So there's still plenty of points to be picked up. But I think it's good. Think it's crucial to pick up the points here to round off the halfway point of the season when it comes to where you want to be. I mean, currently Ren Melton secured a double victory in the first 2 rounds. Let's see if we can maybe pull off a hat trick here with Watkins Glen. But with other places like Veloce Esports, with the the Ferrari team, as well as the 255 and some of the other cars that are in the top spots, it's certainly going to be a bit of a challenging one for them.
Yeah, I mean, you've already mentioned, with the season opener at Kyle Army, it really was a classic endurance race in my eyes. You had that team Ren Welton car, the number 71 Aston Martin, really dominated the race from pretty much start to finish. With their consistent pace and sort of flawless strategy, really. And we had the team 255 competition really put up a strong fight, but ultimately fell short with only sort of 12 teams actually finishing on the lead lap. Course, then we had Silverstone, typical British round, brought very unpredictable wet weather and, brought a real sort of different challenge for the teams to sort of deal with those conditions. But, again, Team Ren Welton emerged victorious, capitalising on, their experience in wet conditions. And, Team Veloce Esports with that number 55 and a 39, who number 31 at 39 even, they actually got the pole in that race. They also really impressed. So, showcasing their adaptability and sort of resilience, finishing both P2 and P3. But, we look forward now to this Watkins Glen race. It's obviously a challenging track, known for its sort of fast and flowing layout, like we've already mentioned. With its elevation changes and some technical corners, it really is. Well, in my eyes, it's a driver's sort of dream track, really. It's not everyone's favourite, I know that, but when it comes to you think about the corners and the way the layout is, it really is sort of that driver's dream track, really. But with the limited tyre sets, it really will make time management crucial. And you mentioned about obviously with graining as the race goes on, with these temperatures as well, with the track temp being so high, it really is going to bring a lot of strategy in. With these pit stops and the tyres and what have you, and these top teams, including likes of Ren Welton and Veloce Esports 255 and so on. It's going to be a very, very close race. As we get halfway point of the series, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to turn back to obviously. I don't remember. Were you racing last week at the community series?
I certainly was.
Yeah. So I just want to ask what your feedback was, because I think you'd obviously drive the Bentley on the IMB series. So if you guys like to join, by the way, you can always join our community series. You can always just sign up onto that through RCI.com. But if you'd like to also join up at one of our one-off endurance events, we're having our final sign-off of the 10 hours at Donington Park as well. So you can also sign up to that through our website. But yeah, so I just want to go back. Sorry, I was just plugging in a little bit there. I also want to ask about what your thoughts were to your time in the Bentley, because obviously a lot of the time, I mean, from my personal experience through the Aston Martin, I was experiencing a lot of tire wear. Like I was, like my teammate was experiencing wear almost zero at one point. Thankfully, I kept it away from that figure. But what about yourself? What was it like driving the Bentley around here?
As you say, Matt, we do have that community series that we do run sort of in line with the esports series the week before normally. But going back to your question, we as a team we did suffer tire wear, but certainly nothing like we've experienced before. It was extremely kind on the tires, to be honest, the Bentley. So no doubt today, teams such as our own, our RCI Esports team and the Bentley. They hopefully won't suffer some of the experiences that some of the guys in the community race did with the high tire wear and the graining. But we were fortunate. Me and my team with Kaiju Racing. We were able to sort of keep the wear down to a minimum, and we had a really fun race, and that's what it's all about, Matt, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's all about just trying to keep the fun in and not trying to keep the passion, trying to work with the passion that you have when it comes to racing in a series like this. Like, of course, that there's going to be a lot of moments where you get frustrated or you get annoyed by even just the smallest of things, whether it's a slight tap on the wall or if it's a slight bit of bumper action. But again, it's the passion and it's all about the fun that racing brings between everyone.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So as Jesse's taken us with a lovely drone shot going up to the grid, we will just quickly talk about how the race is going to go. I think we should go for some predictions, Matt. I think we should go for. I don't want to jinx, give that commentator's curse on the teams, but I must say, I mean, you've got to say at the moment the favourites have still got to be the Rem Welton 71 Aston, starting in P4. But as Jesse now brings the drone over the cars and we get to see these teams' lovely liveries. I mean, I must say, man, I really do like some of these liveries. We've got the 255 competition Aston Martin here with that great colour scheme there and a bit of white on the back. And as Jesse gets right close into the driver, sat there on the grid, getting ready for this 6 hour race to get underway. But yeah, I'll pass on to you, Matt. But I'm just going to say, just to sort of finish off, just wanted to know what your sort of predictions might be for this race.
There's plenty of things that can go right and can go wrong for this race. I mean, yeah, the Red Melton's the favourite to be as they're leading the race, but it's a shame with that. It's a shame that the ACC game can't let the drivers wave at us when we go in with the drones. But yeah, there's plenty of things that can go right, plenty of things that can go wrong. So it all really sort of depends on how it really goes throughout the race. I mean, as we go through towards turn 5 with that chicane, or the bus stop chicane part, it's going to be a very tight section here. So, I mean, the community series kept it nice and clean. We'll hope to see that the esports drivers will keep it clean as well. But the smallest reaction from a bad bump or anything like that could easily ruin a few races for a number of people. But I would definitely keep an eye on this group here, the Acertech group. So they've always been well, they've not always fought for podiums or anything like that. They certainly have been a thorn to some of the cars onto there, as well as some of the Veloce cars as well. So they could have easily have taken the win at Silverstone. It's a shame they couldn't fully capitalize on the gains that they made onto there, but I definitely keep an eye on any of the Veloce cars going onto that point there.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the Ace guys, Visual Esports teams, yes, bit of a thorn, like you said, but they're here, they're taking part, they're fast. I'm sure they will be well in there, getting involved as this race goes on. But look at some of these fantastic liveries. You've got the
it's stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, the paintwork is great, and what I love, Matt, is these little Easter eggs that you find, and I'll see if Jesse can find.
Oh, I know you love those, Les. I've seen plenty of Easter eggs on your livery, because
Look, I can't take credit for any of my liveries. I do. I'm absolutely useless when it comes to graphic design. I can come up with ideas, but putting it onto paper, or, onto computer is not my thing. But I do have a great friend in Callum Kerrigan, and who will I'll plug right there. He does a great job with the liveries for me, and I tell him what I want, and he pretty much delivers every time. So, including a few little surprises that not even I asked for. So, yeah, no, I do like to have the odd Easter egg here and there. Some of you may have seen some of the races I've been involved in. Wait, you can see.
Les
Go on,
likes
Matt.
to roker that poker, as he likes to say.
Yes, the Porsche Cup series on a Monday, which of course, again, like you've already mentioned, anyone that's not in it and you want to be in it, you can, of course, join up mid-season and join the fun. But yeah, as Jesse's telling his ears, this is one of his favourites, the Gladys. Gladys Motorsports car there with a great scheme. And we've got the almost hidden American flag there on the Mustang, which is another great colour scheme.
Yeah, I bet Jesse's showing his patriotism right there. Just seeing that American flag. But a lot of these cars here definitely have just absolutely just stunning elements onto it. I mean, like for me, for this year, I've been fully focused on like designing my own liveries and everything like that, and just seeing what these drivers can do is only a fraction to what the creative mind can give, and it's just a shame I can only give a fraction to what these designs are like. So as our drivers are driving away today, it certainly is going to be a jam-packed full of action here, Les, as they're starting to come around the formation lap.
We certainly are, and this is when the heart starts racing in that seat, and even in the teams, waiting by for their turn to jump in the car. That heart is definitely starting to pump as we get the adrenaline racing around the body. Ready for this 6-hour race to start. But they're going to go around. They're going to get warmed up, get those tyres up to temperature, hopefully, and brakes up to temperature, ready for what should be a great race.
Yeah, it's a little bit ominous with Jesse panning over towards the Go Bowling segment there at the very end. So we really hope to not see any bowling today, as we hope as our drivers go around. But
hey, Matt, I've got complete confidence in these esports drivers.
Oh yeah, as do I. I have full confidence, but there still could be one of them could easily have had a bad bump, or some of them could have just slightly missed their braking zones. It's an easy thing to do. Even the pros who have spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours on a single track can still make the simplest of mistakes. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what lap one or the first couple of laps are going to be like, because at least for the community series, there's a lot of trains and a lot of people bunching up against each other.
Yeah, almost like a DRS train. Almost like a DRS train. But,
an ineffective DRS train.
Well, yeah, totally agree. But as we see the cars now sort of trundling around the track, getting these tyres up to temp, like I've already said, the brakes up to temp, around towards the final sector. We're getting very close now to... This is a really interesting corner here in turn 8. We've got... You don't brake as hard as you think you need to. With that sort of, it's almost like a concave section. The track dips right down, but then comes back up as you start to exit the corner, and it's quite deceiving for some drivers. It's a corner you really have to get used to and really master, which I certainly haven't, by the way. But it is an interesting corner, and it is the slowest corner on the track, so it's very different to the rest of the track. But we're going to start seeing the cars going into double file soon as we prepare ourselves for the start of this race. And like I said before, I wasn't being sarcastic. I've got full confidence in these esports drivers to really get it into turn 1 hard, fair, and clean. That's what we want, because it's so important to get up that drag through turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, right up to that infamous bus stop chicane, where it's so important. There's as I pan back to the screen to realise we are literally going into the final corner. So as we prepare now for the 6-hour esports series, to get underway here at Watkins Glen. As you can see, the 255 competition car getting it all ready to lead the pack up to this start line. And as we wait patiently for the green lights to go on, even my heart's starting to race a little bit, and I'm not even in the car. And here we go. And as we approach, as we see the final cars coming around that final corner, as we get ready for the race director, and here we go, green, and we're off as the 255 gets a good start. And we're going to hopefully see a clean turn one as they get all nice and tight and bunched up. And it's a good exit there from the 255, nice and clean so far. All we've got, I think that's the number 45, is it? Yeah, it looks like the 45 Visceral Esports car getting a bit wide there, but clean either way. There doesn't appear to be any contact so far. As we now go up into the winding section on that long drag up to turn 5, the bus stop, the infamous bus stop chicane, and it's three wide, and we've got a car
side there. Is that one of the McLarens or is that one of the Ferraris? I couldn't tell from what the looks of it. It certainly looks like they've taken out one of the other Fords as well.
But we've got more contact in the bus stop chicane as the Mustang gets into contact with what looks like the Aston Martin, I think. The 138, it looked like. Anyway, as the 92 and the 999 have been told in my ears by the great Jesse Lee. As we're now getting towards that corner I was talking about earlier, turn 8, going around turn 7 so far. And it's looking tight still. As we're now watching the 138 getting in front of the Williams car there, as they go around that infamous turn 8 and they get a good exit. We're now single file down into that last sector, Matt.
Yeah, definitely going through the last sector here. This is definitely going to be one of the more challenging parts here if you exclude the bus stop chicane. It's a little bit of a squeeze there from that Ford for 42. As we go across from there, it certainly is getting a little bit more choppier through the last part of the section. With a lot of our drivers here trying to get all in single file, trying to get through the last part there, but the 255 competition out front has already pulled away a second gap. That's nearly a second of a gap towards the likes of the 73 and the 800 cars. There's a lot of contacts here, a lot of it door banging their legs, so it's definitely going to be a little bit feisty going into the end of the first lap here.
Yes, and as we start lap 2, we're now on board or following Basu Richter there in the red welcome car up in P4. So they haven't actually made any positions. They've kept it in P4 as we watch them now going up that windy section, like we said, up towards the bus stop again. But to be fair, yeah, we had plenty of contacts in lap 1, and we see the 12 car and the 999. 12 car? No, sorry, I tell a lie, it's the 52 car and the 999 coming down pit road. So let's see how long they're in the pits for. Let's hope it's not the garage door being brought down in the to retire. But there's a long way to go. You know, we just got 5 hours and 57 minutes left to go. It would be an awful shame to see cars retiring already. But as we start to see them coming back round towards the final sector again, into this wonderful turn 8, what we spoke about already today, and we can see they're all single file at the moment. But what a first lap that was. You know, very. Yeah, he was 3 wide at one point. Obviously, we witnessed it not working up towards the bus stop, but it was 3 wide at one point. He's looking like it's 3 wide at the background there, as we see the number 39 car of RCI Esports getting right up behind the 72 Ferrari, and
yes.
It looks like they haven't actually been able to make a move, but it's looking close, man.
Yeah, certainly enough to hold your breath on, as it's still a lot of single file traffic here going through into the first. The final sector here, but again, that's sort of the thing you would normally expect unless you have a really proper clean lineup towards trying to overtake. So a lot of our drivers here, when they try and keep the clean lines, it's just trying to prevent any sort of action here, like you can see with the Mustang having the wee peak of the Williams Esports car, but Melton for Fens and Samuels Schlar is able to hold it onto it. But we've got a replay here of the replay of Rainiers and Alon. So we're going to get a chance to have a wee look here with the Mustang pulling a little bit the squirrely part there, a little bit of a tap towards the Williams Esports, but so far still kept clean. We're hoping to see if I get that replay of what happened with onto this part here of the track. We saw both a Ferrari and the 999 Ford Mustang went off, so hopefully we'll get to see us. Oh, a little bit of a squeeze there to the one of the RCI cars there. So I'm not sure if that was an overtake, but if that was, it certainly was a good overtake. But looks like Philip Angman is having a little bit of trouble here. He's getting a couple of overtakes done on himself. So it's just trying to keep himself clean, just trying to take full advantage of just taking the full stint, Les.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see any damage on the car. I'm not saying there isn't, but I certainly can't see any that's obvious. But in all of three corners, managed to lose 3 positions. So not a great lap so far. I don't know whether it's certainly the Mustang had a great run up towards the bus stop chicane and was able to get the move complete into the bus stop chicane. Like you said, very, very close racing. But that set them, the RCI Esports Bentley there, that really sort of slowed them down exiting that bus stop. And I think that's probably what caused the loss of more positions. But yeah, it's certainly been, like you said, I swear I could see maybe even 4 wides going down into turn 1. It may have been my eyes getting excited. I don't know, but I'm sure there are going to be more replays with turn 1 to come. There's certainly been a lot of contact that's been recorded. As we see another replay here of Watkins. You see, this is the incident. There's the Ferrari just gets it all wrong, and the Brabham car being told.
Yeah,
getting involved
the
as well.
car slowed down and just got rear-ended a bit. So thankfully they still kept it safe. But you can just see the Ferrari was just lost it there, and just completely by accident onto that point. You can see Chen, a little bit of contact there, able to bang one of the cars slightly off track. So as we've got live stewards here, all of our pro esports drivers and the managers can protest any sort of incident that might have happened on track. All they have to do is go into race control and speak to one of our stewards here, and they'll be able to help process the full likes of our stewarding process.
We see another replay, Matt. Looks like Roters and Szymanski, I'm being told, is as we get maybe a little stop. So a little bit of a hip check there as we go in, as John Dalton would say, into that I think that was turn 6, I want to say. And we're now going to see the 3 wide apparently as we go down.
So this is a mixture of that Williams East. That's a bit of a harsh hit there. I can't tell if that was a bit of neck coning, because that just felt like it was the smallest of taps. But yeah, I think you might disagree with that, Les.
I think the Mustang behind was just a little bit unprepared, maybe for as we can see. Well, I'm just seeing something completely different to what I'm talking about. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, we did see, as I was saying, the Mustang getting into the back of the car in front, and of course that did look to me like they just didn't anticipate the slow exit speed as it happened, and then obviously ended up tagging the rear end and turning them round. But as we see a great overtake there into the bus stop chicane, that is an example there, right there, from BF Racing, the esports team. Matteo really showing us how it should be done going into that bus stop chicane. If you see another replay now,
just keeping it clean through that chicane part, really. So yeah, the Ford Mustang definitely has the greatness of having that full-on top-end speed. So yeah, definitely having a full advantage in that. It's definitely helping. There's a bit of a contact between Wong and the 39 of barrier. That was a little bit of a squirrely part there. That could have easily have been an easy contact between them there. But something that I was having a wee look at earlier on was that the 255 was slightly held up with the 39 that was from part of that incident at the very end. They're currently going through all the traffic at the minute. The 52, sorry, as Jesse's talking to my ear. Yeah, so there's currently the 52s in the middle of that pack there as well. They currently have blue flags. So they had a 1.1 second gap. Now that's reduced down to 7/10. So the 73 Ferrari is definitely having its chance and trying to pull off, get an early lead.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Abeladze out in front, of course, in the outside line. Just starting to eke out a bit of a gap. Not much, mind, so we're only talking 7/10. But as they come up this long drag towards the bus stop, it's still very, very close. It's even after 5 laps, we've still got the field is still very well bunched up. I mean, you just look at the track map, and you can see all those cars going up towards the bus stop chicane. It's It is crazy, but yeah, we got Niels Klinkmuller in the Rennwelten 4 Ignite Ferrari in P2, doing a great job so far. We've got Walsham, who's in an in-game livery to make a change this week or this month, sorry, in the Ferrari there, and then we can see Richter in that Rennwelten number 71 even in 4th place in that Aston Martin, bringing up that field. So yeah, so far it's been pretty hectic, but to be honest, with the incidents I've seen so far, I think the stewards are going to have a busy time. As you've already mentioned, we've got live stewards today, doing a great job, certainly a job I couldn't do. But yeah, they're going to be a little bit busy this start of the race. But I don't know if there's going to be many penalties, in my opinion, just from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be anything too much in the minute. But again, a lot of the teams will have to report their own incidents, and that's just involving the race control and just communicating with them on anything like that. But there's plenty of opportunities here for our drivers here today to try and take the overtaking, try and take the strategy optimism. As you can see of 20 just getting slightly overtaken there by Frey and the 111 Aston Martin, so that's a really good opportunity to take. But the Ferrari is trying to peek itself out, trying to get the overlap towards turn 1. But it's just looking like he's closing that door shut, and it's a little bit of a slight door bang there, but he's kept it clean enough to be able to secure that overtake again. But along in the 5-star racing, Ace is just showing the Mustang what it is fully capable of, with the Aston Martin having a little bit of a worse run going up on the uphill part here. So that BMW behind is also going to try and maybe get the overlap as well. So it all really depends on coming up onto the chicane part. The Aston Martin taking a bit of a bad bump there, but the BMW of Cyril at the 99 is taking full advantage of the Aston's mistake. So yeah, that was some great racing on that part there. Kept it very clean for a lot of the drivers here, as the BMW is also trying to look on the inside line of the Mustang as well, and able to secure the likes of P31. So great racing there, even despite of where you are on the track.
Yeah, it certainly was. And what I must say though, that number 20 Ferrari really showed everyone there how patience and clever racing really pays off. You know, going into turn 12 was allowed enough room for the other car to get up the inside in the Aston Martin to get around turn 12. Essentially, they took that place from them. But with that cutback manoeuvre, they were able to get back into turn 1 and take that position back. And now they've managed to then obviously allow for the other team then to then have a bad run off turn 1, which then of course allowed for Skidmark Racing to get through. And I must say, when it comes to team names, I think if we're allowed to give points out the championship for team names, I think Skidmark would definitely win that for me. But yeah, we got, as we see, we're seeing for
P3 trying to try and take on the P2 spot, but he's just trying to fight back at every single point that he can. So it was contact. There was contact. So Jessica being the replay of it as Walsham tries to go look on the outside line. Little bit of bonk there, almost taking both those drivers out. So going sideways onto the sideways side, going to that point there. So Walsham has actually got past him. So I didn't actually get the chance to see what's happened there. But have a wee look there for you to see where exactly they were able to get that overtake done.
No, I think, Matt, that's unfortunately that's just the sector timer
sector
relaying
time,
the wrong information. Yeah, so
right.
Walsham's back in P3, but very sensible backing out in the bus stop there to allow the battling to continue. But of course, what that's done, all this battling for P2, has brought the guys behind closer, but it's allowed Abeladze to sort of really start to gain a good advantage away. In 2 seconds in the lead now as he comes around turn 12 to complete what would be essentially lap 8. So 8 laps complete now for the 255 competition car, and really starting to sort of being able to sort of breathe a sigh of relief as they're able to build a gap now and really sort of get into the groove and set these consistent lap times as P2, P3, P4 and P5 are really sort of battling out now for this P2 position. But Jesse's going to put us on board now with Luke Whitehead and the number 55 Veloce Aston Martin. And as you can see, getting a good drive off turn 1, up through those. Also, as we see contact ahead, Walshingham and Klinkmuller really battling out the bus stop. It looks like
a big slide. He's thrown himself.
Yeah, he's got a rear end. Oh no!
It's multiple car contact here going through the bus stop chicane. I wonder if Jesse's got a full replay of that, as so much has happened through that just short 10-second point there, as we get a chance to see the replay of that. So Jesse's going to show us a different replay here of some contact here on the side. A little bit of banging there of a swaying between Reuters and the other Lamborghini as well. But let's see But apparently Jesse unfortunately doesn't have a replay of that at the time. But if we do get to see a replay of that at all, we will show that to you if we can. But that's just completely ruined the likes of Walshingham's race there. So that's just unfortunate racing on that part.
Well, yeah, I mean, look how many positions have been lost, and it's crazy. Just one little incident. I say little; it's actually quite big, to be fair. But that incident going into the bus stop, it looks like it gets worse for the 800. Oh, there's so much damage on that car. There's more contact as well with unfortunate passers-by, as they're really desperate to get it down pit lane to get. Oh, look at the state of that Ferrari. It's a sad sight.
It's very unfortunate for those types of things that happen, but it's only just been about 15 minutes so far. We're just over the 15-minute mark, so there's still 5 hours and 43 minutes left of racing. There's still plenty of time, plenty of opportunities to get that positions back, especially when it comes to the likes of the drivers double stinting, as Luke Whitehead just took a little bit more aggressive, or taking a little bit of the grass on that part there. It's certainly not a way you should be taking that corner, as the suspension there could be enough to throw that Aston into the wall, as it's done a couple of times on my experience alone from the Community Series last week.
I think the esports teams will disagree with you on that one, Matt. I noticed this earlier today. A lot of these esports teams take that line to gain the fastest time. It's not great for an endurance event, I wouldn't have thought, but they do tend to take it when being aggressive, and it's certainly something I couldn't do. I mean, every time I tried to attempt that sort of line across the exit of the bus stop chicane, I'd end up losing it. Very similar to what happened to Walshingham on the exit there, and getting it all messed up and into the barriers. But wow, what a last couple of laps, man. I mean, talk about carnage. It literally was just carnage, pure carnage. Unfortunate as well, and hopefully we can see the repairs get done and they can get back out. But I love the positivity there, Matt. We've still got 5 hours and 40 odd minutes to go. Let's get it repaired. Let's keep it calm. You never know what can happen.
Yeah, definitely. It's also really depends on what's sort of happening coming up towards those final parts here. I mean, there's still plenty of places for people to double stint their tires. Whether or not you do it at the very first part of the race, or you save it towards the end, it really sort of depends on what the play of strategy is. I know for like ourselves, we did double stint the first 2 stints, which completely ruined our tires, but gave us a better advantage when the track was starting to cool off and when the night started to come in. So I don't know if you would agree if that was probably the best way. Taddle took a bad reaction from the bump, almost exactly the same as how I took it. So it's just a full-on. Normally, for instance like that, that's about a minute's worth of damage onto that part there. So that's just some really unfortunate part on the play there. Taking on to that second part, we can see that the Lamborghini just violently reacts to that curb, Les.
I think we call that he got air. He really launched off that curb, and all 4 wheels of that car were in mid-air. It was not connected to the tarmac whatsoever, and unfortunately that's definitely going to unsettle the car. As we can see, and obviously they end up hitting the barrier very hard and lost plenty of positions, and no doubt we're going to have to come down pit road. But we now see Jade Hutchinson in the number 38 SDR Esport Mustang has made a massive amount of gains with all the carnage that's gone on in front of them today. And they've caught up into P4, which is just fantastic to see. And it just goes to prove patience is key. you know, keep it patient, make sure you keep it clean, give people space, and you know, before you know it, you know, I mean, I've got to be honest, you know, we've completed 11 laps, and we're seeing teams really racing hard, but maybe it's a bit unnecessarily hard at the start of the race, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of really is, all sort of depends on how it goes. Still plenty of time, plenty of opportunities. So really onto there, as there's a lot of cars bunching up here, a lot of turnout going towards turn 5. It's certainly a thing I would definitely hold my breath in, as they're literally bumper to bumper. So anybody outbraking is going to be, you have to keep it easy. But these pro drivers know what they're doing, so they kept it nice and clean onto theirs. But Jessica shows how that bunch up happened. So Macklin in the 138 with a little bit of a bang there. So that's just put everything bunched up together, and that's what kind of happens. Hard racing, give us hard racing tickets.
I mean, in football terms, that would be called a shoulder barge, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but a bit of a hard racing line.
Depends on the referee.
Of course, what that does is it puts them on the back foot when they lose all that momentum up towards the bus stop. But what Jesse Lee's going to do for us, hopefully, in this pack, as we go into turn 1, he's going to put us on board with someone in this pack, in the middle of this pack, and you'll be really able to see how the visibility is pretty much it's minimal. I mean, you're going to see it's almost nerve-wracking going up to the bus stop chicane, because you're trying to make out your braking point. And thank you very much, Jesse, for putting us on this lovely Bentley. I do love the Bentley, I must say. I've really got to love this car again. And as we see now, we're going to try and get the optimal line through turn 1, get that perfect exit out and get the traction down, get that momentum building up as we go up now the hill through the S's, as we now try and close up on the back of this BMW. And what you're going to see is it's going to be very difficult to pick out a braking marker. And what you try and do in your practice is try and make sure that you try and get in a pack if you can, and really sort of pick out a different braking markers. See how close we get. You barely see any of the track, certainly not the racing line anyway. And we can see, this is what amazed me, Matt. We're going through the exit of the bus stop then. There's so many guys and folks that are really sort of getting it so close on the edge of that curve, and you lose so much stability, and before you know it, you're in the barriers, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. But some I'm just pointing out, I want to point out something there. There's certainly a lot of violent corrections from that Bentley as well. So I wonder if they're taking a little bit more of their tires than they want to. But again, they could be deciding to go all out for this stint and then pull off a double stint later in the race. But we're in the Aston Martin right now. That brilliant sound onto there. It's probably one of the my more recent favorite cars, not just simply because of how fast it is, but just the simple characteristics. It's a very simple car. It's one of the most easiest cars to get started in ACC, but it's also one of the hardest to master, I want to say, as once you start dialing in any of those sort of pro esports setups, the characteristics of the Aston Martin just suddenly likes to change from being a very nice stable car to one that kind of likes to kick out a lot.
Yeah, well, you generally find a quick setup ends up being a setup that's very heavy on the nose and light on the rear, and yeah, you'll find that the rear end will want to step out at the earliest opportunity. It's just about how you control it. You'll see a lot of these teams not even using the traction control systems. They'll generally turn them off for things like the Aston Martin and the Bentley and stuff like that to get the optimal speed. And we see Hubert Szymanski there getting very tail happy on the exit of turn 8. You know, it is a hard corner, but I must say, we were watching just a minute ago in that pack. You know, for me, and I'm sure you're probably the same, Matt, you know, racing it ourselves, turn 10, that's probably the most difficult corner on this track in my eyes. Trying to get the power down on that very off-camber corner, it's very tricky to see. And then these guys, if we see Eric Delfanti coming out at turn 8 there, coming up towards turn 9, and you'll hopefully see at turn 10 just how difficult it is to master that corner. It's been such as they're slow, but equally just as hard to get the power down and get the line right, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see why there's definitely going to be a lot how reasons as to why it's hard. And I can definitely agree onto there. But Currently, right now, you currently see some people with 5 seconds onto their onto the board there. There's a little bit of contact from the Mustang in front, but those 5-second penalties will start going through some of the penalties now. Currently, right now, at this point here, lap 1, turn 6, between the 769, the 551, and the 202 was an unfortunate racing incident. That was that one we saw the massive crash between the near the start of the race with the Brabham car. Incident lap 1, turn 1 involving the 769, 51, and 46 is also a racing incident, an unfortunate racing incident. But as we go on through to lap 1, turn 5 involving the 201 and the 27, there's been a 5-second penalty given to the 27 for avoidable contact and forcing 201 off track. Incident lap 5, turn 10 involving the 45 and the 996, 5 seconds for car 996 for the overtake with contact. Get a chance to see a replay on here with Struben Rausch. As we can see, it's still very clean. There's a little bit of wobble there onto the likes of turn 8, I want to say. So it's an easy place to spin out other drivers, isn't it, Les?
As Jesse would say, I think that was a bit of a fender bender moment going into turn 8 there. But it's a tiny bit of contact there. Nothing really much to shout about. But they were both able to get out cleanly and get on their way. But Justin doing a great job here in P14 for this Esports team, and really showcasing really what this team is capable of. They've got quite a few cars in this championship and series side, and they're really proving they're a strong outfit. But it's I mean, to have 5.5 hours left to go. Like you've already mentioned, and thanks for telling us about all the incidents that have been dealt with by our lovely live stewards. I mean, they are alive; they're not robots. We have got a few penalties that have been handed out. Nothing too bad or big to sort of worry about too much for the teams, but they've been handed out, and it's been deemed that they deserve them, so they have to deal with it. And as they say, the referee's decision is final. As we see lots of close calls as they're going up through these S's up the hill, and there's a
little bit more door banging there, Les. It's certainly going to be heating up going more towards turn 5. That's the likes of the Aston Martin trying to peek its nose through, but it's not going to have enough speed to get through it. But that's going to give the RCI Bentley behind a chance for Strapen at the back of them. So it's going to give the Bentley a better chance of trying to get the overtake done and sealed. But with all these cars, with all those cars also behind as well, it's just a matter of getting the CRT car just to hold it together and not try and lose out and trying to overtake the 2 cars from the front.
As we see the BMW go down the inside of turn 8, cleverly pushing now the Mustang there to try and get the better traction, and the Mustang obviously not having. They've got a bit of a hip check there. It looks like contact between the CRT Pro team and the Mustang as we go now into some of the slower section of the track.
The 4 cars going too wide there. A little bit of a scroll from the flyby by Prime. So it's definitely been the shape. This section of the track is definitely shaping up to be an absolute bloodbath. As I said that, the RCI has taken a slide and stopped on track, but it's whether or not he can get himself going there. There's a little bit of a tap on the wall, but that's not going to stop him from trying to get those positions back. We get a chance to see a replay of that. See Verstappen going around the end there. It looks like it's a little bit of it's contact from the Gladius car. So that's definitely something that will be looking to be noted from the stewards.
Certainly will be, and very, very unfortunate there for the RCI Esports car. That lovely Bentley getting a bit of a scratch on it now is just a shame. But like Jesse already mentioned, luckily it didn't go into the barriers. I know there was a little bit of contact, so you tried to manoeuvre to get the car back on track. Oh my word! And we got more contact, Matt, as we go into the bus stop.
Yeah, certainly. It's definitely shaping up to show some people's aggression coming into this point here. It's a slow car around the back of that part section here, but again, it's not going to stop any one of these guys here to fight for every single point up for grabs as we're going to the halfway point in the season. A lot of people will be wanting to get their stuff sorted out going through into the next part of the championship.
Yeah, I mean, he's, like I said, I've already mentioned before, he's quite surprising. We see a replay now of Reinders at the 595. Oh dear.
Oh no.
It did look a little bit like the Mustang just trying to get a bit more, push the Ferrari out a little bit more just to make sure they had the ultimate line going into that, hoping that they weren't going to go too wide, but it was much earlier than the bus stop itself and ended up having the contact and it pushed the rear end round. And yeah, it's got another replay here. There's got the incident. Oh, with the 769, just a little tap round there with the Gladius car, and unfortunately, probably wrecking them tyres as well for RCI Esports Bentley. But they're carrying on. You can just about see them in the back of the picture there, as we're now looking at Linus Luchben in that Ferrari for the Madcap Racing team, trying to get the real sort of drive out of turn one and hopefully get the run on the back of this Ferrari. It certainly looks like they are, and they're now definitely in the slipstream now. Matt.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to give them a full advantage. Oh, a little bit of a squirrel at that point there, but there's an overlap coming up towards the likes of turn 5. There's a little bit of door bang there. That looked a little bit on the naughty side there. Looked like there was a bit of turning onto the door there. So that would definitely be something I would recommend the stewards to look at if that gets reported, as they're still going side-by-side action onto that part there with Madu trying to fend against the Mustang, but there's not really too much he can do with the Mustang's pure top-end speed when it comes to that sort of way. So he needs to take the full advantage on the corners there. Thankfully, the 52 pulling himself back away from the traffic onto there, so he's not impeding any other drivers. But yeah, it's been full-on hard racing with a lot of these drivers here so far.
It certainly has. And as we as Jesse's saying, we're trying to take a breath here in the midst of all this action. I must say it's great to see the chat quite lively on the YouTube channel, and thanks for everyone to tuning in and joining us today. And we've got Mr. Daly giving us the big heart, and we've got Mr. Brunier mentioning that the elbows are definitely out in today's race. Nice to see Joe Gleason join us as well. Long time no see, Joe. We've got plenty of support from teams. We've got Chris Racing saying go number 255 competition car. We've got support from those guys, and even Forza BFR, as the Furious Bird mentions in the chat. So it's really great to see so many people join us today, and as Joe says, it's a great way to spend a Saturday, man.
Oh, definitely. It's a nice sunny day here at Watkins. It's certainly a nice sunny day for where I am as well. So there's nothing that's going to beat that except all the good racing on here. It's the likes of the BMW squeezing here between the Lamborghini, the Mustang, and the BMW. Those three cars. Oh, there's a full-on hit there from the back of that Mustang. He's kept it clean, but that is gonna. It's strange how he managed to keep that stable, but he's going side by side with the likes of the Lamborghini, so that's going to be an overtake with contact. So that'll be definitely something I'd be wanting to protest towards the stewards, as Jesse's going to show us a nice replay of this, of the three cars squirreling a little bit of each other. It looks like the Lamborghini had a little bit more speed and taps the likes of the Mustang. Somehow managed to save that.
That is some great skill to keep that Mustang going straight. We're going to see one more replay of this, as we see the Lamborghini getting into the back of this Mustang, and he just gets completely. So look at the rear wheels bouncing with that suspension really struggling to keep up with all the movements.
Hold on, Les. I think there was two contacts there.
It certainly looked like it. I think it was a typical sort of concertina effect, though, Matt. I mean,
yeah,
you've got to take that into consideration. But yeah, carry on, Matt.
I saw two contacts on that replay there. I saw the initial contact just at the start of that chicane, where the Mustang was a little bit of a squiggle there, and then obviously that second one, which we saw the big bang, which going through onto that right-hander there.
Yeah, I don't envy the stewards. I mean, that's going to be some. The team reported, of course, and they're going to have a bit of a job there to really sort of figure out who's really at fault there, if anyone is at fault, of course. As we see now, going up at the bus stop, we've got more fighting. We see, no, not quite as close as I thought, but yeah. Oh, and we're side by side again into the bus stop with the 51 in the middle of the sandwich, and eventually making it clean, actually, and survive another lap through the bus stop. This is crazy, Matt. Absolutely crazy.
It just goes to show how quickly a race can end when people are full-on hard racing with each other. It's just with Watkins, you just have to be super careful about how you race with everybody, because you don't have all that open space like you do with Paul Ricard or Spa or even to some extent Monza, but you just have to really be careful with a lot of the different aspects of the track, especially when it comes to those fast sweeping corners as well.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll see. It's you can really see how some of these teams really set these cars up for rear end traction. It's so important at this track, and you can really see the effects as the rear end's really trying to step out, as they're trying to struggle with the grip. Oh, and the Lamborghini, I'm sure they touched the wall there, which is nothing uncommon here at Watkins in that final corner around turn 12, and we're going to get a replay kindly given to us by Jesse. Sorry, as we're now following the Gladius Aston Martin. Oh yeah, definitely touches the wall. Yeah, slight tap. Hopefully not too much damage. Bit of a pancake onto the wall there, and we're not even in February.
Yeah, there's a few extra attempts they don't even want to. There's a few extra attempts they don't want to add into their pit stops here, but we're coming up to about half an hour till the pit stops are going to have to be served at some point or another, because they do have a 65-minute stint timer, so they can only drive for that period of time. Not fuel will last that long, but or any longer than that, but it just means that our drivers will have to do it. Otherwise, we'll have to serve a drive-through penalty for that way. But that's something that the ACC game provides anyway. There's a few more penalties that are coming in as well, as I'm speaking of that. A couple more from lap 1 and lap 2. So we'll start off with this one here. Lap 1, turn 10, involving the 20 and the 202. 5 seconds for a 20 for overtake with contact. And there's another incident at lap 2, turn 8, involving the 42 and the 24. 5 seconds for 24 for avoidable contact. And a warning's been placed involving the 42 and 11. Warning for car 111 for avoidable contact at lap 2, turn 8 as well. Been an incident in lap 9, turn 4 and 5, involving the 89 and 32. A warning's been given for car 32 for aggressive driving. An incident on lap 13 involving the 99 and the 46, with a warning for 46 for forcing a car off the track. And as finally, there's an incident in lap 16, turn 10, involving the 769 and the 202. 10-second penalty has been applied to the 202 for avoidable contact there.
Yeah, 10 seconds being quite a large penalty really for one incident, and obviously the stewards have deemed that it was bad enough to warrant that. So, like I said before, not a job that I could undertake, that's for sure. So we got to thank those guys for chipping in and giving their time to make this happen. But we're now going to see more close racing as we approach the bus stop. Cleverly, the BMW there of Brenham backs out of it. But the previous lap, Matt, whilst you're reading out those penalties, we saw what I can only describe as some smart, clever racing there from today in the number 44 Lamborghini. Noticing that he wasn't as fast as Brenham and Congatul, but and really just allowing space and allowing them to have the corner, and deciding that, do you know what, I'm going to look after these tyres, I'm going to follow these guys. Maybe they can follow to see if there's a better line they can take, or maybe it's a bit of a strategic move, should we say. And just sort of really showing a textbook sort of overtakes there from Brenham and Congatul. So today, unfortunately, losing 2 positions, but looking at the long game, Matt.
Yeah, it's all about the long game here when it comes to this, because every single part of the racing is to play for when it comes to strategy, comes to outright pace, or even come to avoiding any of the incidents here today. But something that I've just seen on the corner of my eye, the 255 competition. They've managed to pull off a 3.5-second gap so far on the rest of the competition, especially on the 71 Renwelton car. So while Renwelton has gained to gain up to second place, they haven't been able to catch the likes of the 255 competition.
Yeah, correct, Matt. Funny enough, I'd noticed that myself. I think they've been. I mean, obviously they got the pole. They got the pole in the qualifying, so that ideally is the best place to be when you start a race. You sort of hopefully stay clear of all the carnage behind, and then you're able to concentrate on your own race and really pull a gap. But surprise, surprise, we see the Ren Welton team up into P2 early on. I know they started P4, but they kept it clean. They were able to keep out the carnage, and they've gained P2. We've got Jaid Hutchinson also up into P3 now in that Mustang, just proving keeping it clean can get you many positions. So with we're sort of averaging about 3.5 to 4 second gaps between first, second, and third. Just goes to prove, with those instances, it's sort of opened up the top three a little bit. But don't count them out for catching up. It could be a bit of tire management going on. With the track temperature just dropping slightly now. We have got a little bit of a wind. Rain's not out of the question today. It's definitely not out of the question. It is possible, but you've got to say at the moment with the way it is, it doesn't look likely, but you can never say never, Matt.
No, I mean there was rain on practice servers. I mean, Jesse pointed out over my ear there was rain yesterday on the practice server itself. So, I mean, I wouldn't count against it. The wind is at 3 kilometers an hour, and the track is cooling off again at 30 degrees. Originally was 32, so it could go either way when it comes to this. Of course, it will definitely help if it were to rain for an hour, as that's an hour less, so you have to double stint on tires. So yeah, so it really more depends on how the weather turns out to be in the next 5 hours 80 minutes.
And here we go. I was just about here we go again, Matt. But no, it's a nice clean move there, and the 20 colour Luchman there in the Ferrari really getting the move done cleanly. And I've got to be honest, again proving that today is really sort of proving to go in the long game, and knowing that they're not the faster of the two cars battling, so they've decided to give the car behind the space to get the move done. But yeah, we're just looking now at the Just Drive Boys classic Ford Mustang in the interesting colours of purple, white, and gold, and it's there's, like I said earlier, some great liveries going on. I must say at the moment, we didn't even get around to mentioning it on the grid walk, with the great drone shots of some of these liveries. I am a massive fan of the darker colours, but then having those really vibrant sort of almost luminous accents. But yeah, there's some great liveries out there, man.
Have you got a particular favourite in mind?
There is, but come back to me because I can't remember the team name.
I mean, there's plenty of different ones that I quite like as well. I think most notably the one right behind Wong here with the Williams Esports car. It's definitely one of my favourites. It's definitely just one of the really great colour schemes, obviously, with how well it's all blended together, especially with like those yellow contrasting tones, especially with the Williams F1 team themselves embracing the yellow. It gives it back to its route back into the, well, it's not its roots altogether, but back to the 90s. Just give you that 90s feel with the old Canon livery.
Yeah. Don't be fooled, folks. We've got no Nigel Mansell in here today, but it's certainly going back to that sort of era, isn't it? And yeah, I mean, obviously the Williams Esports Academy team got 2 cars in this series, and doing a great job up into P14. And where's the sister car? We'll look at the sister car up in P8, I believe.
Yeah. So it's Hadley in P8. So yeah, they've done a really good job and they're able to secure that position there. Of course, they're not going to be too worried about the car behind, as they've got a 5-second penalty, which must be served when they do their pit stops as well. So yeah, they're all in really good positions for where they are. They're currently in the back with Whitehead as well. So I don't see any reason why they can't try and take a full opportunity and pushing themselves into the top 5, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And we're now sort of getting a bit of side door to door
action there towards the final bit of the corner there. A little bit of tapping, but that's Gladius Aston Martin took a bit too big of a slide there going through the last part there, but the Ferrari tapping the wall, that giving the Aston Martin the run on the likes of the Ferrari, able to secure and seal that position for P21.
Don't talk too soon.
It's not just here yet. as they're still side by side going through to that part there. I think the Ferrari might have taken a little bit of a deeper line onto that part there, but that Gladius car just wasn't able to just secure that properly going through into turn one.
Oh, nicely done as he goes around the outside, peels out the back of that slipstream and hopes that the Aston Martin can really edge out the gap towards the bus stop. Hopefully there's no contact as I'm really holding on to crossing my fingers, and there isn't, and the Gladius car gets that move done with what we call just momentum. I mean, the Ferrari had such a tight line. It was obvious that they weren't going to have as good a momentum, and the move is done by Gladius, and on they go onto the final part of the lap. But that is another great colour scheme, another great livery there by Gladius, and it's still haven't found my favourite yet, and I will tell you. But they're going to turn 8 now, and it's so close. It's nice, clean driving by the Ferrari behind Sonotti. No, sorry, that's Sonotti of the Gladius car. Sorry.
Yeah,
and off they go to that final sector, Matt.
yeah, definitely. It's like what you said with like momentum base, and going back to what you said at Kyle Abbey, the Ferrari just runs out of path at the very end of the if it's top speed range, because obviously the turbo is just over boosting when it comes to that. But through the main likes of the fast corners and that, it just likes to excel. But when you're talking about going back to what you were talking about with the liveries as well, with the Gladius, I also like there's also black detailing through it, as the likes of Haxley is able to get the likes of pass through Luke Whitehead here. He's got the overlap down, he's sealed it in position here, but Luke Whitehead's got the more momentum going towards the back of the likes of the Mercedes, but he's able to just hold it on just enough to get through the bust up chicane part and be able to secure a nicely sealed gap for him to secure that P7 spot.
Yeah, it's sensible racing there from the ever experienced Luke Whitehead, just braking a little bit earlier than he normally would, going into that bus stop just to make sure no contact was made, and just sort of conceding the fact they lost that position. But talking about gaps, I have noticed that the top end of the field, it has been reduced ever so slightly between P1 and P2, as we see a move here from by Brennan actually getting the move done around the inside of the Aston Martin down towards turn 8, and you see it very close still, and getting the move done. But the gap has slightly come down, not by a massive amount, but we are definitely seeing a bit of a closing up of the gap. But down to P3, it's definitely slightly grown. But yeah, no, it's it just goes to prove what I said at the start of the cast. Turn 1 is such an important corner. If you can get that drive off turn 1, as it goes, it's aggressive, contact's made. Yeah, unfortunately, Luchman then gets sideways, and I hope if they're going to use reverse gear, they wait for a nice big gap, and no other instance, of course.
Plenty of cars coming by. That just looked like they just went for a gap that never existed to be. We'll see if Jesse Lee is going to be able to give us a replay of that shortly. But it just looked we just saw it from the cockpit camera. Thankfully, we got a replay of it. But there we go. Either the Ferrari tried to go for a gap. It's just the gap never existed in the first place. He seemed to take himself out. But thankfully, the Aston Martin is able to continue on. So I think it was just a silly little mistake on the Ferrari's part there, Les.
Yeah, we get McLaren going around the outside of the Mustang there, and Ender's really sort of playing and dicing with fate there, and managed to get that move done. Luckily, there was no contact. But going back to that. Oh, actually, sorry. As the Mustang gets the overlap in that slipstream, pulls out the slipstream. Now getting the slipstream from the Lamborghini in front. They're hoping to get this move done cleanly, and the McLaren pulls in and sort of concedes that position for this lap. But this is great racing, Matt. I mean, look at that Lamborghini getting it all wrong as he goes over the end of the chicane and manages to keep together. Of course, that means the Mustang and the McLaren are able to gain another position just from someone else's mistake. And we see Lamborghini's going to try up the inside of the late brake. No, backs out of it, and it stays clean. But as they go now down towards turn 8, you're going to see this very tricky corner, like I mentioned before. The McLaren sort of really. The McLaren hasn't got the best of brakes, so maybe that was a bit of a proof there that the braking's very different in every car. And luckily we carry on, as we see now. Kevin Tadai actually making a bit of an early pit stop. Looks like there's a bit of damage to that car as well, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a little bit unfortunate to get those bits of damage. Sometimes you can drive around it, sometimes it's not going to be too much of an issue, but when it starts affecting your top end speed and it starts affecting some of your cornering, That's what you need to be looking into getting getting the hammers out and start banging in those ineffective parts. But yeah, it sort of really depends on how well they play out their pit stops and whatnot, and trying to mitigate the damages onto that part there. As we see, a full overtake done there on the BF Racing on the Veloce to be able to secure the likes of P8 and just giving that Mercedes Williams Esports a bit of a safer gap as well compared to the likes of the Aston.
Yeah, really getting a great run there on the back of Ed's Aston Martin there, and able to get that move done. And we've now reached the time when Jesse's just changed the screen. I was about to say that BFR rate or sort of BF Racing Mustang is my favourite livery so far, man.
What's that your favourite one is? Yeah.
Yeah, BF.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong to go against opinions like that, especially since it's such a nice livery onto that. But personally, there's just too much for me to decide for an actual favourite of mine. Unfortunately, I wish I could pick one, but there's just so many different characteristics and how well they use the brush tool and how they do all those shapes and all those little secret things onto that. Have you got a car number for us, Les?
Yes. Come back to me. Come back. They're further up the list, Jesse. They're further up the list.
But again, this one here, the Skidmore Racing one, I actually quite like this one. I wonder if Jesse can be able to give us a little bit of a zoom in on this one for the drone camera, if he can, because it's just such a really nice play on the lettering, and also just how they're playing with the lines and the different color tones when it comes to blending everything in.
Yeah, it's almost graffiti-like, isn't it? And it makes it look pretty cool.
That's exactly what I was trying to point onto there.
And as Jesse's pointing out in the middle there, it's got that skid mark racing stripe going up the bonnet and maybe up onto the roof as well. And no, it is a great livery. And I do apologise, everyone. I just love talking about these liveries. It is great, but we've got a little bit of calmness, dare I say it, going on during this first hour, which so far has been quite a rarity. And in the background, you can see the Lamborghini just stepping out the toe, coming up to the bus stop. Looks like they're going to make a move on the McLaren. No, not getting done at all, but clean. That's the main thing. It's clean.
Not yet, but there's still plenty of opportunities to get round on the track there as the Lamborghini is getting closer and closer to the rear of it. As we're coming up towards the end of the hour mark, we're seeing some people already starting to make their pit stops. I don't know if this is a play on trying to get the tires changed or just simply refueling their Les. So it'd be interesting to see what the strategies are playing out as the likes of the 62 car there getting his nose straight into the back of that Lamborghini. So it's really sort of all just coming down to this the final few minutes of this stint.
Yes, and I think what we're seeing actually, some of these teams have opted to split their double split. Oh, as we see it. And there's contact. Oh, they've kept it straight though. They kept it going forward. There's 3 wide going up into turn 11. How are we going to go through this corner?
Someone has to yield, and it's more contact going through the second last corner, forcing the likes of the McLaren off. But there's another car there. It's the Ferrari of Malno at 62. It's gone and touched the back of the, or was it the 91? I couldn't tell from all the carnage that happened there. It certainly was not a great point there. So Prime E-Racing is going to have to try and take full advantage of taking a pit stop now and try and work their way around it.
Yeah, that was some remarkable skill there to keep all those cars pushing, to keep them straight ahead and able to McLaren able to actually get in the pits there sideways as they come around turn 11 into turn 12, and the Ferrari takes that opportunist move and gets it a little bit wrong, unfortunately, and makes contact with the McLaren there of Enders, and Enders then thinks, right, let's just get it into pit lane while I'm here, rather than going around a whole lap with damage and get it done. But I was just alluding to what I think may be going on with some of the teams here. They've opted to get these double stints over early on, but they're doing it with less fuel, I think. I think they're going for fuel-only stops with like sort of 45, 50-minute stint to sort of try and keep the tyres alive and in better condition with lighter fuel loads and not having to do as long on a double stint. So maybe that's what's going on there, Matt.
Yeah, definitely, and it's just it's definitely a lot of different things that can go wrong, a lot of things that can go right with this. So yeah, I sort of agree with that.
I wonder if there's going to be any team tactics here from the Wendell 4 Ignite car, allowing a bit of a slip or a tow for their sister car to get closer to the leaders here. But you never know. I don't know. I mean, obviously they've just been lapped, so at the moment it might just be a case of strategy playing a bit of its hand here, and but it would be handy for the slipstream to be available for the other rail car, number 71 Aston Martin, try and close a bit of gap just before the pit stops.
Yeah, definitely. It all really depends on how well they play it. Because like sometimes you can gain a couple tenths on a pit stop. Sometimes you can gain a few seconds on a pit stop compared to your competition. It all really sort of depends on so many little factors, on how well you break into the pit stop, or has they missed their mark on the actual pit box? So they're gonna have to sit for longer because of that, or they gotta fuel more, they gotta change tires, change drivers. There's too many different things to really say on what's and how pit stops are really going to affect this race until we get to the final hour of the race.
Yeah, definitely, Matt. And it's all shaping up to be an interesting endurance race indeed. And endurance racing is my favourite form of racing, where the teams really can use strategy and team play to its best. But yeah, I must say though, this is another livery of another one of my favourites. And well, I'm just noticing in chat, we've got some more people joining us in chat. We got Tim Sim Racing asking if there's some details on lap times and stuff that they're able to see, and we got 58 Chap Toxic asking, are we using the ACC? Well, we are in the ACC format at the moment, but we do actually run a series on iRacing as well, which is on a Wednesday night. So again, mentioning the other series that we do have ongoing at RCI, but don't forget to visit our website, racerci.com, where you can join any one of our series mid-season. Please do. Obviously, we've got the 10-hour endurance event, the one-off event that we're running at Donington, which is actually a multi-class race. So
I can't wait for that one, Liz. It's just that's definitely gonna be a fun one, especially with the mixture of GT3s and GT4s as well. So
yeah, exactly. And
it really depends on obviously these events. This is our last one-off endurances of the year. So normally this is a thing where everybody will love to come together and try and finish off the year on a high.
Yeah, sorry, just to pause you a second. I'm just gone off camera, but you can see now Leon Byrne is in this run before Ignite. They've obviously, I'm pretty certain these guys have changed tyres. The pace difference now between these guys in P28, a lapped car, right behind the leaders, they've really closed that gap up now. Now the tyres have warmed up, and they're really proving that new tyres are definitely faster than used tyres. I mean, we pretty much knew that anyway, but this is really proof of that pudding. So new tyres have been confirmed from Jesse Lee. So yes, we are right, and it's proven it. You can see clear as day on screen that they're able to close the gap up to the leaders. The difficult thing here, Matt, is what do? Do they wait to the pit stops and then allow this 255 car to come down pit road, and then they're able to open up really open up the car and get it as fast as they can, or do they go for the risky move of trying to unlap themselves? It's a bit of a tricky one. It all depends, I suppose, on the lead car, what they want to do, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, to start off, it's definitely the 73's job to do it nice, to do it clean. That's what the main point is. They are allowed to unlap themselves if they've got the pace and if they've got the opportunity. But remember, if they lose out on any sort of the time for the 255 to catch up, they'll have to concede the blue flag rules that is going to be coming up. So it really sort of depends if they've got the pace to push past the likes of the 255 and keep and build a gap on them, or if they get past them and can't get away from them, they're going to have to concede to the blue flag rules.
Now you can see on camera there just how tricky getting to pit road is at this track. it's a great track, but pit lane entry is extremely tricky. Yeah, it's that's one way of putting it. Yeah, it's definitely one way of putting it. But yeah, we do ask teams to make sure they indicate to the drivers behind as best they can that they're blatantly going to be coming to pit road this time by. Maybe use the indicator if they can, or at least just keep to the right hand side of the track, making it clear and obvious that they're coming to pit road to make it a safe entry. But yeah, just going back to what we were talking about before, the 10-hour one-off that we have available on our website to join is happening, I believe it's next Saturday actually.
Yes, it certainly is. You can always sign up to that through racerci.com. You can sign up with I think it's a five-person team maximum if I'm not mistaken. So with all the GT3s and the GT4 cars, I'd definitely be excited for that one.
Yes, well, I've already had a look, and I believe you're already signed up in a McLaren GT4 car, but unless I got that wrong.
Not by choice. That was someone else to push me to that. But we'll see when it comes close to the race. I've still got to talk to the other guys and see what one's there. It's people who I haven't raced for a while, so it's nice to see them coming back onto the scene once more.
Yeah, that's the beauty about one-off occasions like that RCI do put on with these endurance events. And I mean, 10 hours, that's a long race, you know. And around Donington, one of my favourites. I know Callum Kerrigan's outright favourite track is Donington, so hence why he's keen to get his team out there in a GT4 car, I believe. But we'll wait and see that. But yeah, by all means, anyone's considering it, don't consider it, just get on with it. Sign up, let's get involved. And you know, if it's your first endurance event, and as we can see now with Veloce, number 55 there, making it obvious coming to pit road and making a nice clean entrance, keeping away from that pit lane speed. Oh my word, I can't get the words out. The pit lane speed board, and I see the cars behind, like the RCI Esports car coming down as well. So we're now starting to see the teams, Matt, coming down for their scheduled pit stops.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've come on to the first hour down. It looks, for me, it looks like Verstappen had today was actually speeding in the pit lane, which could affect the team severely, which could either means of a drive-through, or in the worst case scenario, a stop-go 30, which it turns out it was a stop-go 30, and that they're currently serving it right now. So. From Jesse's ears, so no, it's not going to be a great day for the likes of the RCI Bentley team.
Yeah, it certainly gets from bad to worse, doesn't it? They had the contact there into turn 10, that really tricky corner. We're able to get going again, but then now this, we get some bump drafting. It's not like you're not allowed to do that, but it is a bit risky. But thankfully, both cars still facing forward and carrying on with the lap, and the Williams Esports Academy team there, still ahead of the Lamborghini, as we see the Lamborghini pull out to the side, out the toes. We can see now with the replay, you can see the Lamborghini there giving a bit of a push, just a little bit of a nudge, just to give him a bit of extra speed. But of course, just before the braking zone is, I love that. Yeah, just before the braking zone is a bit dodgy now, as we see the leaders with Abeladze behind the wheel coming down pit lane, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. It's I mean, the first hour's done. We're coming up to the very end of the stint timer here, so. Hour 1 down, 5 to go. So I think for us, we'll be taking a 5-minute break or 5-10-minute break, but we'll be able to bring you into one of the cars and get you some of the nice loud action that come by with the rest of the cars.
Yeah, Jesse's just taken his own outboard now to have a real good look at this livery. See the 255 competition cars. We get rudely interrupted there by one of the Williams Esports Academy team. They drive through on their own. But yeah, and Jesse's really given us a showcase of this great livery, and as the leaders of the race so far, looking like it's being made by Shimi Skins, quite a well-known guys there that make some of these great liveries, and off they go to end their pit stop routine. And they have exited without any penalties, Matt.
Yeah, it's definitely a great opportunity for them, but the 255 is still yet to come out, so we'll see what strategy they hold on and what Ren Walton has decided to do as well. Currently they hold the lead over the 255, but It also really depends on what's going to come to be with when they are all out on track. So it looks like the likes of the top 7 have decided just to take fuel, while the likes of the 255 might have taken fresh tires, as I want to say.
Yeah, it's we're just going to wait for everyone to pit. You can see now everyone has to pit who hasn't pitted now, because of the stint time will be over in 34, 33 seconds. So well, look how close to the line. There. Yeah, very close to the line there. Just slamming the brakes on to get it down to the pit lane speed limit of 50 kilometers an hour. So you can see now that Bastian Richter, who currently leads the race, obviously because they haven't stopped, coming down pit road to make their stop. And you can see now that Brennan, they got 10. This is cutting it close. We've got 7 seconds. Are they going to make it to the line? Yes, they are. Just before the stint timer ends. Wow, that is cutting it close to get into pit lane just before their stint timer ends. So, yes, that's everyone now. Well, should be everyone now that's made their pit stops. We can see that Minar now is in the 255 competition car. So, yes, definitely new tyres. If they haven't taken new tyres, it would be a bit silly getting a new driver in without taking the tyres, because it's the same amount length of stop. So, I'm assuming new tyres are on board that car, and we're going to see now if Richter was able to make up any time in the overlap, or whether Minar in the 255 competition car was able to make a bit of time up with the undercut. So we'll see as the timer resets itself. You see going up towards the bus stop.
So I just want to hold you there. I'm just checking over the likes of the pit stop timers at the minute here. A lot of people are within the 1 minute 6s, 1 minute 7. Some of them doing 1 minute 13s, 1:18s, just to repairing damage. But the biggest winner so far is Richter in 71, who only did a pit stop of 56.8 seconds. That is 10 seconds over the likes of the 255 competition, but that's only because they did not take any tires. They just took the fuel and ran away with what they got. So it's definitely interesting to do the double stint at the very start, but it's also very interesting to not take the double stint at the very start as well, especially when we're currently at the hottest period of the day.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got two strategies here. It's getting very close here with Hacker coming around towards down towards turn 8, right at the back of that Mustang there of Wong. No move there. So yeah, we got two strategies playing out here. We've got hot temperatures. So one team's decided, that's the 255 competition car, to go with new tyres, deeming that obviously this is where most of the wear is going to happen for them, and maybe taking the new tyres early on and then go for the double stints with the cooler temperatures. And then we've got Richter there for the Ren Welton car, surprise, surprise, at the head of the field, opting to do the double stints now and then hoping that the ultimate pace will be towards the end of the race, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. It's all sort of what's come down onto this part here. But again, hour 1 has passed, less than 5 is to go. But for us, we'll be taking a short break, but you'll be enjoying all the action here still as we watch on. We'll put you into one of the cars, we'll be able to hear the full roar of one of their engines here. So we'll let Jesse decide which car he wants to be put us onto just now. So far, we're currently in the Hurricane GT3 with Osterman for the BS Plus competition, one of the new teams that's joined us today on the outside of the other Mustang here. They're able to secure that likes of the P3 position. So great racing from them so far. So yeah, if Jesse wants to leave it onto this car here, we'll be trying to take a short break just now.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Coming back into the RCI 6-hour esports series here at Watkins, Glen, and I'm joined by Matt in the booth and Jesse Lee behind the cameras. And wow, what a first hour and a bit of this race it's been, and we've had lots of contacts, close racing, hard racing, but equally a lot of fair racing too. And we've just finished not long ago, before we went for a little break. The pit stops were all completed for all the teams down the order. Unfortunately, we've lost a few teams due to some issues where retirement has had to take place. But we're still going, and we've still got plenty of racing to go. But Matt, it's been great so far, hasn't it? And I understand there's a few more incidents to mention, but I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, certainly. 4.5 hours to go. Still plenty of action that's come by in the last hour and a half. But not only that, there certainly has been a few incidents on top. Just before the pit stops, we did have a couple of incidents before that were served in penalties. So there was an incident in lap 30 in turn 12 involving the 171 and the 51. 10 seconds was given the car 51 before avoidable contact. On lap 27, turn 10, there was two parts to this. So there's between the 20 and the 49. There originally wasn't any racing incident, but there was another part to it where a warning was given to 49 for aggressive driving. And more recently, on lap 38, turn 10, involving the 20 and the 799, a 5-second penalty was given to the car 799 for avoidable contact. Thankfully, all of our drivers have served their penalties for all the points there, excluding the more recent ones, but it's all been good racing. It's certainly been hard racing, with Philip Menard taking back the lead over the likes of Richter in the 71 car. With Richter going through the double stint with the 255 taking fresh tires, it's certainly going to be livening up as we used to watch replay. Jordan Daly tapping the side of the Lamborghini there and just giving himself a really hard hit against the wall there. So that's going to be impacting his race a little bit there, especially with the means of the damage. And apparently he's got a 5-second penalty, but we don't have that shown on the steward's page at the minute. So we'll find out. The second that comes up, I'll give you some details as to why that 5-second penalty has been given.
Yeah, thanks for that, Matt. And yeah, we do see the 799 having a few bits of contact there, and Jordan Daly now at the wheel. So he's now obviously out the YouTube chat. Well, at least I hope he is, because he needs to be concentrating on the road. But yeah, unfortunately, not been the best of days for the 799. However, there's plenty of time to claw back positions and try and get as many points as they can towards the overall the esports series. So yeah, as you've already mentioned as well, we've got the 255 competition car back at the front of the pack, leading the way here at Watkins, Glen. Like you said, splitting the as we're on board here with CJ Wang in that Mustang for the 5-star racing car. And as I was saying before, whilst we were at break, the 255 car did take the lead back, showing that the split strategies between the two top cars, proving that the new tyres are definitely faster. But you know, Bastian Richter, doing a great job for the Rem Welton team here in that number 71 Aston Martin, keeping it clean. Did have a little bit of contact as the lead was taken back by the 255, but nothing worth mentioning. A little bit of a brush, but carrying on as they are. Now, I have noticed that the number 89 BS Plus competition car, all the way up into third position, Matt. I didn't expect them to be this high up this early on.
Well, it just goes to show they've got plenty of talent and plenty of pace inside their car. So it's definitely great to see this team before. I have actually followed this team in some degree before, so it's great to see them into this competition as well. And it's honestly great as a whole, for even if you say, for example, you sign up during halfway through the season where getting the chance to get the outright win might not be possible. It could still be possible as we're only halfway through the championship. There's still lots to play out for when it comes to the final 3 rounds here.
Certainly is. We've got Jacob Osserman now behind the wheel, so new tyres, and they're slowly catching up with the Rem Welton car. Richter really showing the pace difference between old and new tyres. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, with an 8/10 of a second gap now between the two, if we see the Lamborghini taking the P2 position for now anyway. But certainly tyres are going to play a big part of this race today, as we now see Sam Gaskell in the Visceral Esports number 45 Aston on the back of what I've already said is my favourite livered car so far, for that Mustang there. But as we see it close now going into turn 8, and the Mustang getting a little bit wrong with the braking, and the move is done. Very easy move there by Sam Gaskell to get into P9. However, I must say, been looking into the YouTube chat. We've got some chat going on, but we've most certainly seen Kevin Boss there getting membership for 13 months. So thank you, Boss, K-Boss as we call him in the community, for doing that for us. And it's great to see the support prevalent in the chat as well. So 51 laps complete, 4.5 hours to go, Matt. Are we still on the same sort of lines? We're still thinking it's going to be the 71 car that's going to take the overall win, or what's our in-race prediction now?
It's still too close. Still a lot of unknowns going on to this point here. I mean, we've got going through an hour and a half, but I mean, right now, Jacob Osterman is definitely on full pace here. I have no... Jesse's predicting that he's going to take the win here, but again, anything can happen. But I definitely do think he is certainly going to get himself up into a really great spot. So he could claim a lot of points compared to the rest of the competition. Yeah, they'll probably be near the halfway in the pack at the end of this race, considering of how much points everyone else has got. But just doesn't mean that they're going to be a formidable opponent, and the thorn on the likes of Richter and the likes of Minar as well, being able to get up and catch up with them. Yeah, as Osterman able to dive on the inside. Sorry, Les, it's just that was just a full opportunity send there that he just completely took it really nice and clean. He just kind of knew where exactly that Aston was going to be, and he just got to that widest part there and just slammed that door shut on the likes of Richter.
Yeah, I think Richter sort of knew it was coming. I mean, in one lap, the deficit was closed by well over half a second. So knowing the long game, they're on a double stint, and the Lamborghini being on fresh tyres, it was just a concede of the corner, I think, more than anything. But yeah, it's still, well done, got the move done cleanly, and onwards and upwards, as they say. And now got to try and close the gap down now on the 255 competition. Aston Martin, who is currently roughly 4 and a bit seconds up the road. So it's not it's definitely doable. Both on the same age of tyres. So let's see if they can close this gap and maybe fight for that P1 position, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen within the next 4.5 hours. It's just there's too many different aspects as to what can control the race when it comes to anything like that. I mean, there's 4.5 seconds currently between our leaders here with Minar in the 255 and Osterman in the 89 Lamborghini, but it all really sort of depends on how well they're going to be able to play off the next few hours. I mean, Osterman currently has the fastest lap of the race. I'm trying to get a full note as to what the fastest lap is, but with them having it, it certainly does put a little bit of fear towards the rest of the competition.
Yeah, and on cue, Jesse Lee puts us up there with a leaderboard, and you can see, like you said, Osterman does currently hold that fastest lap, and the fastest lap being a 43.6. So roughly just over a second slower than the qualifying time, just going to prove full tanks of fuel and in a race conditions as well. It's certainly proving to be quite a different side between the qualifying times and the race times. But one thing we haven't mentioned, Matt, actually, is track limits at this track. Very easy to get a track limit here, and I do wonder if track limits do play a part in this race. It's easy to get a track limit here, but it is also you normally when you go off track and the in-game tool picks it up, a lot of the time you've lost time anyway, so you don't necessarily have track limits. But I'm not saying it's not possible. So you never know. Drive-throughs might be a thing as the race goes on.
I don't know about that, Liz. I mean, there could possibly be, but with Silverstone having, I think, 50 drive-throughs by the means of the Community Series, last week we did not see a drive-through by track limits until maybe like over the 4.5 hour mark. It was very near the end of the race when I actually saw the notifications come through for track limit cuts. So it could easily be the same for our esports drivers here. We might not even see a single drive-through today, but that could all still happen regardless, depending where you are, depending how well the track limits are for use.
Yeah, being a long race, it's inevitable. A track limit is definitely going to be accrued. It's just a case of how many you get during the race, isn't it? And for those that don't know, you're allowed 3 track limits before penalties start taking effect, and the penalty will be a drive-through once you get that 4th track limit warning. So yeah, it's certainly plenty of time to accrue them and maybe potentially get a drive-through. These guys do push it to the limit, and it's inevitable that at least one team in this race is going to have a drive-through for track limits in this race. But we now see a replay as we're going up the long drag up to the bus stop, as we see Fabrizio Campanella opting to back out of that move, but being the sandwich in between that Aston Martin and the Ferrari, and then so chooses to get on the exit, the inside round turn 6, and getting that move done. And then of course the Ferrari looking for the opportunity to move, and obviously getting that move done into turn 7. So yeah, great couple of corners there for 2 of the teams there to gain a position.
Yeah, definitely clean but hard but clean racing for a lot of our drivers here today. There's definitely been some incidents. There's definitely has been some moments where it's certainly been a bit sketchy, but for the most part, our drivers are trying to keep it as clean as they can, trying to secure as many points, as many positions as they can. So it was good to see hard racing, but nice kept clean and fair with those 2 there. But the Ferrari is still trying to take full advantage of. I think Campanella had a slightly worse run-up, but it's just not enough for the likes of the Ferrari to take full advantage of it. He's getting closer towards the likes of the back straight there. He's going to have the toe, but it's whether or not that Ferrari's going to have enough path. Trying to look on the inside, trying to look on the outside. It's going to try and go on the outside line here. There's a bit of overlap between the Lamborghini and the Ferrari, but the Ferrari's just going to have to concede it just another once more. But anything can still happen going through the likes of turn 7, turn 8. So it really sort of depends on how well they're going to be able to try and manage those tires and try and manage the pace going through that sector.
That was extremely wide there by the Lamborghini for the Visser Esports car there. But I just noticed actually that's Lushman in the number 20 Ferrari for Madcap Racing. They had an incident, I would say a good sort of 30 minutes ago, before the pit stops anyway. And they dropped very far down the order, so it's good to see them climbing back up, being patient, having that pit stop, maybe preventing some damage as well, and getting back on it. And it just goes to prove, you just got to keep plugging away, and other people might have incidents in front of you, and before you know it, you can make up a lot of positions. And now we see in P19 here, Christos Podens for the G League Esports Elite team in that Aston Martin, trying to gain on the back of the BMW in front, of course, for Skidmark Racing with that great livery, and down into turn 1 and trying to get this great drive off of turn 1 to get up that long slog up the hill and gain that suck from the behind of the toe of that BMW's creating such a big weight map.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. It just sort of really depends on trying to maximize their corners, trying to maximize the exits, so in that way you can just not. I mean, it's about dealing with both with all these different aspects, especially with all like the dirty air and with how the wake works.
Yeah, exactly, and once you get within sort of, well, I'd say about 0.4 of a second behind the car in front, and you've got that nice long straight, you know, the slipstream really is very effective, and before you know it, you'll be on that back bumper, if not past the car by the end of that straight. But we're now on board now with Sam Gascoigne in the Viscera Esports number 45 in this Aston Martin, looking right at the back of Lay in that number 27 Ford in one of my favourite liveries, as we've mentioned, trying to get into the slipstream into. But yes, as Jesse's commenting on the almost the best last name in the esports, we've got Lee or Lay, and Sam Gascoigne not gaining an awful lot in the slipstream, but of course the Mustang also in the slipstream of the Veloce Esports number 39 of Olivier behind the wheel.
Yeah, it's also very difficult parts when it comes to how each car has its own characteristics. I mean, yes, the Mustang will definitely be able to pull along the straights, but it's got a kind of like a boat characteristic when it comes to the likes of the cornerings. Very much, I kind of want to say how the M4, when that first released, that was very much got boat characteristics when it first came out, but it was just super dominating on those straight lines. So yeah, and with the Aston, it's a very good all-rounder when it comes to all that, but with the BOP on this one, it just feels like it's a little bit more on the understeery side, not very much on how I quite like to drive when it comes to onto any of that sort of stuff. But something that Kevin Boss has put into one of our chats here that's definitely an interesting fact. Osterman has started outside the top 10. We have never seen in RCI Esports, we've never seen anyone win outside the top 10. So if they're closing in on the likes of the 255 when it comes to there, I think the last lap they were able to gain an additional 210. Yeah. So far they're on equal pace with Minar, but they've been taking bits here and there. So if they're able to win, that would be our first competitor that started outside the top 10 that secured a win in RCI Esports.
Yeah, it certainly would be very impressive if they get the job done today. And yeah, interesting fact there. So thank you, Kevin, for that information. And I certainly didn't know that. And it's interesting because it just goes to prove, you know, qualifying is so important in these esports events to make sure you're as far up that field as possible. I know it's an endurance race, and you know there's a long way to go, and anything can happen. But it is so important to qualify as best as possible and be as far up that field as possible, so that you try and stay clear of most of the instances. I know that obviously you can't account for every one of them, but you can certainly give yourself a good head start by being as far up as possible. But yeah, great, interesting fact. And if they do get it done, then yeah, it will be a hell of an achievement. And it will certainly put them on a great start to join in, you know, almost halfway through the season and getting a hell of a lot of points, especially with the fastest lap as well. So, yeah, they've taken another couple of tenths, I see, up on the time tower there. And we see a great battle here between the Viscera Esports Aston Martin, the BF Racing Esports car as well. So, with Alexandra behind the wheel here, really sort of keeping composed by the looks of it and keeping in that tow of the car in front of the number 39 Veloce. So yeah, it's turning out to be a little bit like we described earlier, the DRS stroke non-DRS train that we have here. They're really sort of a bit stalling out where they've all got the tow.
Yeah, I mean you see on the track map there's plenty of gaps, but there's also plenty of people bunching up at certain parts here. But it's just trying to take full advantage of what you can. I mean, for the likes of the Aston versus Mustang, the Mustang's going to win every single time on the straights, but it doesn't mean that the Aston can't give a good fight. As you can see, it just takes better advantage on the corners than, say, on the Mustang. So maybe we might see a little bit of a cheeky nose in when it comes to the boot section. You try to have a little peek onto turn 8, but it's just not enough really for the Visceral to get anywhere past the BF Racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you use the terminology of you know, a bit of a boat in the corners, and I mean, it's it made me laugh a little bit, under my breath, because I've been known to describe the Ferrari as being, the best way I could describe a Ferrari is almost like an ex-smoker, runs out of puff at the end of the straights. And, it just goes to show that these cars have such different characteristics. And with the BOP, the custom BOP that's applied to the series, really showing that it brings these cars that bit closer together and makes it a bit fairer for each team to be able to pick a car that suits them better with the handling characteristics or so, and they're able to still be able to compete in almost whatever car they choose.
Yeah, I mean, you see for the likes itself with the Bentley, he was able to put up some really good performances for the likes of Kyle Lamy and Silverstone. It's just a shame there's just a bit of an unfortunate events for today's race, but it certainly has not put their spirits down anyway, as they're still trying to fight their way. As the Mustang, you can see, just pulled away on that on Jacques Olivier when it came to that Aston Martin. It's just that's like I said, when it comes to the straight line, the Mustang wins every single time.
Certainly does. And is it tyres? I don't know. I think obviously with Jack being in the Veloce car now, it's I would say that must be new tyres, as we see the Aston Martin behind that Viscera Esports car of Gaskell getting a bit wide and onto the grass, luckily not losing much time, if any at all. So it looks like they're going to get onto the back of the Veloce car imminently, and maybe able to get a move down here into the braking zone, all just jumping out there trying to fake the move, trying to scare the Jack into maybe making a mistake. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's mind games, trying to show the nose just to scare them out, man.
Yeah, it's just it's hard to, it's gonna be hard to tell when it comes to a lot of different things. But what we do know is that some characteristics are just better than others when it comes to that.
Yeah, and like you mentioned before, with the Aston Martin, it's quite a popular car when it comes to the BOPs that are set, because they're a nice car to drive, but like you said, when you start putting the esports setups into these cars, when we got the great Go setups to use, so I certainly was a fan of those, and great partners of ours here at RCI, and using one of their setups, one of their esports setups, you can definitely notice the difference straight away. You tend to get a bit of better drive out the corners, but you are at risk of just putting it down ever so slightly too soon, and you will lose that rear end, as we see a battle here between the 24 and the 49 rounds. What looks like turn 9, yeah, it is turn 9, and getting the move done there with a bit of a clever braking manoeuvre there into the corner, Matt.
Yeah, it's definitely a good clean overtake on that part there. Definitely, I would say, on the Mustang's part for having just better speed going into the likes of turn 9, but going up for turn 1 here, we've got the Aston Martin behind as we switch over to Leon Bernard from room Wilton 4. Knight trying to fight his way between the Aston Martin here and the likes of the BMW. It's going to be a little bit of a tricky situation here going through into the likes of turn 8, as the likes of traffic is starting to make its play onto this part here with the likes of, I think it's the Punja car ahead, I think that's being a lapped car. Yes, it certainly is. You see those blue flags on the right there, so a lot of traffic is going to be coming up through to this point here, as Jesse's kindly switched us over to the likes of the relatives. So you can see the people in blue are currently people that are on a lap behind. So these will be people that need to yield if the car gets if the leading car gets closer to the likes of the lap.
Yeah, and this is where endurance racing sort of really, showcases what it's like. When you're a lap car, it is very difficult. You sort of in two minds. You want to have the best race you want possible, but equally you don't want to mess up anyone else's race. And if they're on the lead lap and they need to get past you, you kind of want to get the move done without losing as much time as possible for both parties. But I've been told in my ears there was a spinner on track. Oh, I do to the line. I misheard that information. So yeah, to see Spinner getting out of the way for all those lead lap cars, as Jesse is kindly telling me in my ear, correcting me. It's get out of the way for all those cars. get out of the way of all those cars on the lead lap. It's just great to see, and great sportsmanship, knowing that they are lap down. Let's just let them get past, and then they can get on with their own race map.
I mean, it's also it's good sporting, but it's also great racecraft. That's another thing I want to say when it comes to that, because when it comes to racecraft, it's not just about racing side by side. It's not about just knowing who to overtake or anything like that. It's also knowing when to show, hey, I'm not as fast as these guys. I need to be careful about. I need to make myself predictable. I need to make myself clean, so that way those guys can get ahead of me and they can race their own race. So definitely comes to the likes of racecraft. I think that's a key point when it comes to like being able to, whether you're lapped or if you're lapping a car. But we are back in Sinotti here, right on the back of the likes of Jordan Daly here, trying to fight for P25 on the grid here. Daly, while having a 5-second penalty, it's going to be a bit of an advantage for Sinotti. It's just a matter of trying to find a clean overtake, but he's got Zimbo at the back of him in that number 6 Lamborghini, the really nice lime green Lamborghini, just trying to find a way to get past them as well. So he's got 2 cars to fight, but it's all sort of depending on how well he can keep it without losing too much time.
Yeah, it's. Well, I mean, we're coming close now to the second round of pit stops, and as we see now, Zimbal getting past the Gladius car there into turn 11, isn't it? No, turn 10, and getting the move done and trying to get now onto the back of the RCI Bentley, piloted by Jordan Daly. We see the Gladius car now looking like they're going to make a move down pit lane, and they are. So we're going to start to see the first of our second pit stops coming down, with Sinotti coming down pit lane now. I'm assuming to take new tyres on the I believe they double stinted, so that'd be interesting to see what happens. But I think going back to Spinner, actually, who was letting all those lead cars past, actually quite clever, because they had Nürnberger, who was in front. So the lap cars, or the lapping cars, should I say, were actually in between the two. And by doing what Spinner did, Johannes Spinner, he was able to actually close that gap, and now they're right on the back of Nürnberger. And this is the position. Yeah,
it's can be seen as a great strategy. It's just letting your opponent pass and just let him barge through the rest of the lap traffic. So it's also great for just trying to get clean overtakes done onto that part there. As we're back into Richter for Renwelton, currently P5. So double stinting the tires seem to have put a massive hindrance on the likes of the position-wise, as the likes of Coach Dave and the 38 of Mowing is in a really good position to try and steal some points of the likes of the 71. But again, the 71 is currently on the double stint right now, so when they finish up, they'll definitely be putting on a fresh set of boots and maybe even a fresh set of eyes as they go and get themselves down, and once they've settled their pit stop.
I've got to be honest, Matt, I think this is clever racing. You think, Richter's not far behind the leaders. Considering they're double stinting these tyres, I think it's great pace. I really do. Now Veloce Esports number 55 going up the inside of the Mustang there. Yeah, move done. Move easily done. I think Jesse is correct there in my ears by pretty much just waved by. But yeah, it's an easy move. But going back to Richter, as we see a replay now, getting the move done. So the problem with the Mustang in ACC is I do find these lights are very confusing. It looks like he's indicating right, the 996 there. But
yeah, just simply lets him through just onto that part there. Did not want to get us involved into that battle. But it's not the right way. You should be indicating left to tell him I'm staying on the left side, not. Yeah, you. I mean, I have some people who I've seen in daily driving do that, but it's not the right way to do it.
I will clarify that Matt is not on about Jordan Daly. He's on about daily driving, and it could, of course, we could be, of course, it could be confusing because it could have been his other left side. Matt. It's But my left or my left. Yeah, as Jesse's agreeing with all the comms. But it's the best practice, as you've already said, is use your indicators or turn signals to show which side of the track you are going to stay on. So the car behind can clearly see that you're going to stay on the left or the right hand side, whichever side you've indicated, and then they can make a safe pass. But yeah.
Oh, Sam Gaskell going off the track there. Sorry for butting in, Les. Just taking a little bit too much of that grass. Thankfully, he kept it away from the wall. But I kind of want to pull back the conversation all the way back towards Richter again. Talking about that double stinting, it's like taking a double stint early, I will say, is probably one of the smartest moves you could do. Do you want to know why, Les?
Go on.
Because not only because he's not that far from the leaders, but the track is getting cooler. It is going to be nighttime soon. Now, your tires are not going to overheat as much. You're going to have, like what we did was, when we did our community series, we did our 2 double stints right after the other. And that meant that during the colder periods, you could throw that tire as hard as you can, even harder than what you could do now, without reducing any more of its life. So having that could make the difference of being 3 tenths a lap faster, or even just a couple of hundredths of a second faster. It just really depends on how well what the track conditions are going to be like later on, and how the tires are going to react on the colder conditions.
I couldn't agree more. And in fact, that's exactly how we planned our races, to the 2 double stints at the start, and then have the faster pace at the end. But didn't quite work out how we wanted to. But it is what it is. And going back to Richter, though, if you think about it, when they came out the pits, they were 10 seconds in front of the overall leaders at the moment, the 255 competition car. And if you look at the timing screens, they're just over sort of 10, maybe 12 seconds behind the leader. So actually, across it, they've only lost 20 seconds in total. So I think this is definitely, for me, preferably the better way to do it. As we see now, it looks like they're coming to pit lane, and they're coming to pit lane. So here we go then, Matt.
Yeah, this will be the play here. This will be whether or not they will definitely be putting on a fresh set of boots. Whether they change the set of eyes is going to be a hard one to tell, because Richter is definitely one of the fastest drivers in their car at the minute. So it's definitely going to be debating whether or not they're going to be taking a full advantage of getting a new driver in, getting fresh eyes, fresh sets of hands, or to just keep Richter out and just try and get him to go towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought it was going to be change driver. Let's utilise the speed that we have in Richter to set the faster lap times on the new tyres in the colder conditions. But as Jesse's now showing off the Renwelton livery, it's very well done, I must say. I would say that must be, there must have been quite a lot of time put into this, I would believe. But yes, it is great livery, and Jesse's really showing it off for them. And so we could see any Easter eggs on the back of this car.
Nah, I didn't see anything when I was looking at my little beat.
Catch me if you can on the rear spoiler. I know you already mentioned it, but I forgot about that. And it's just a nice little piece put on the underside of that rear wing. As you see, if we look at the timing tower, it doesn't quite work in this sim, but it's great to see what's around and the detail that's put into this sim. But we see the first of our lead cars pitting, and we can clearly see a new driver's got into the car. So, Matt, what do we reckon? Do we reckon we're going to see a double stint for Minar, or do we reckon we're going to see new tyres and a new driver getting back into that 255 competition car?
Well, it's 5 degrees cooler than at the start of the race, so I would definitely see some play out on. I'd say more people will be inclined to take their double stint now, because if they haven't done it on their first stint, they're going to be definitely doing it on their second stint. And as you can see on the timing tower in P17, you can see that the 71 have in fact gone and switched the drivers over to Grunwald. So it's great to see Grunwald out on the track now. We'll see whether or not he decides to take a double stint or if he takes a single one. But going back over the strategy, if they don't do it on the first stint, they're going to have to do it on the second stint. Because if you sacrifice your double stints to the end, it's only going to really make you suffer towards the end. Because I think that is exactly what one of the Mustangs did last week. I think it was the Wheelie Slow team did that last week, if I'm not mistaken, Les.
I believe it was 2 single stints, but with Jordan Daly in the car at the start, yes.
Yeah, and then they put, I think, Ted and Kevin into the double stints at the end, which was great at the start, give them the jump that they needed to be near the top, but of course that kind of just brought them back even more towards the end of the race, which goes to show that it could really impact the race near the end when the pace is desperately needed.
As we see the Mustang there of moaning there, getting very tail happy on the exit of turn 10, very tricky corner like I've already said, and I tell you though, very quietly just getting on with the business. Coach Dave Academy Ferrari, we haven't really talked about them much at the beginning of this race. The first couple of hours have passed, and they've just been quietly getting on with their business and picking up positions, and now up into the top 3. So yeah, it's a great performance from their team, and obviously I know there's still 4 hours to go, but yeah, it's been really good to see them up there and just quietly plugging away, getting the moves done and getting the positions. And as we see now, we're on board with Tobias Gromwald for that Renwell and 71 Aston Martin, looking to get past all these lap cars. And I think that's no, it's not a lap car. That's
this one's
position.
fine for.
Yeah,
No, it's hard.
Yes,
this one is fine for position here with Paul in the 99 skid mark of BMW. So yeah, they're going to be trying to fight through. There'll be a lot of cars here that are trying to pit, because again, we've got 4.5 minutes until. No, I don't want to say 4.5 minutes. I think we've got just less than 10 minutes. I want to say until the pit stops are going to be needing to be done.
Yeah, we're going to see quite a lot of cars now coming down pit lane to get their mandatory pit stops done for the stint timers to be reset. Maybe new drivers and new tyres we put on, but yeah, you can see now the 996 of Alvin Wong, the Drive Just Boys Classic, pitting now, and it'll be interesting to see how they fare when they come out the pit stop. But we've got Sam Gaskell now in the Visser Esports number 45 Aston Martin trying to fake move and then flash the lights there to really show his, well, actually their teammates, their sister teammates, to say, come on, get on with it, get out of the way, I'm here, let me move past. Bit of team orders maybe, but
certainly not a bad thing.
No,
but not when you're trying to distract another driver, which could impact their race in a pretty bad way.
I got that completely wrong. I've got to take that back. They're not teammates at all. They are opposites. And yeah, no, there's a flash of lights really just to say to the Jack, Oliver in the Veloce car to, come on, I'm here. I'm clearly faster than you. I need you to let me go. And to basically for both of us to lose the minimal amount of time to get the move done. But I don't know if he's going to be close enough here to be able to get the move done. I mean, obviously equal machinery. Going up the hill, he's obviously got the toe in his advantage, but yeah, it looks like Jack's taking the more defensive line.
Yeah, Gaskell flashing again from the looks of it there. So I don't really know what to take of it, because I'm looking at their times. They're both almost exactly the same time on their last lap, with Jacques Olivier having the faster lap by over a tenth. So it's really difficult to tell like who's actually the faster driver, whether or not it's just Gaskell being impatient in one way or another. But again, it's gonna be hard to tell what it's gonna be like the next few laps. But certainly if Gaskell's excessively flashing, it's something I really would not want in my rear view mirror.
No, it's but then I suppose that's a good tactic there from Gaskell. You know, he knows that the flash of the lights can sometimes disturb the driver ahead and put them off, and you know, he's looking for an easy, cheap move, I suppose. You know, get the car in front to make a mistake and then capitalise on that mistake and get the move done. But you know, I don't know, or it could be we've missed something that's happened prior to us going on to this fight, where there may have been a little bit of contact or something that Gaskell didn't approve of. But yeah, it's definitely been the old flashing lights, and you can see there's a little bit of a gap now that Jacques Oliver's managed to pull. So we'll see how they fare going around turn one, getting a hopefully good exit for both cars. And you see a bit, both of them getting a squirrel on as they now go up into the S's, up that long drag up to the bus stop. And it does look like that Viscera Esports car is very close. They're starting to pull out the. You see that, Matt? As soon as he pulled out, the traffic slowing down.
Gaskell has a slight better speed advantage going onto that part there. They're side by side going through onto that chicane, but it's just Jacques that's able to pull off just that little bit more, but he's got a little bit less speed going through the right-hander, but Gaskell isn't able to get past with it. It just wasn't a big enough gap to get through that section there. So it's great defending by Jacques. We'll get a replay of this part here, with Gaskell trying to look on the outside part, having the overlap towards the likes of Jacques, going through that section towards the chicane itself, but Jacques just has a much better line than the likes of Sam, so that it just really is just disappointing on Gaskell's part that it's just frustrating on his part that he just cannot get any advantage on it.
Yeah, true. You know, being if I was Gaskell's teammate right now, maybe talking into the ear of Gaskell, saying, you know, you need to keep it calm. You're gonna get past them. You're clearly faster, but equally maybe make an earlier pit stop and try and do an undercut. You know, it depends on what their strategy is, I suppose. But you know, strategies can change mid-race. Clearly not pitting this time by, but trying to go for this move again, going down and towards turn one now. It's about that drive, isn't it? That exit off of turn one to really get the move done properly. And this is where it can get extremely tight into the braking zone, as we see now. Them both getting a decent exit out of turn one, and I think he definitely looks like Gaskell's a little bit close this time. And go on, Matt, take us away up to the bus stop.
Yeah, as we go up towards the bus stop again, it's still going to be the status quo between these two again. It's just not enough overlap, not enough speed difference between the likes of Gaskell and Jacques, but Sam is just able to just get a little bit closer, a little bit squirrely from Jacques' part onto there, but he's able to keep that door slammed shut. And he's just kind of barricaded himself inside for Gaskell. There's a little bit of an aggressive bump on Sam's part there, so that's going to hinder his that lap just a little bit there. But for the most part, it's all exactly the same on that part there. It just really depends on how the next few pits are going to play out when it comes to their pit stops.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting, actually, you mentioned about the track temperature and the ambient, to be honest, coming down as much as it has. I have noticed there's actually a little bit more wind than there was at the start of the race. And we've now got a 6 kilometre wind, as you can see in the top right hand corner of your screen here on RCI TV. And, you know, it's not totally out of the question that we might be having a bit of inclement weather appearing at some point, but you never know. But it certainly doesn't look like we've got any of that coming soon. But yeah, I'm surprised that the team for Viscera Esports here haven't called it and said, let's come down pit road a little bit earlier, because you're clearly, you know, holding up a lot of time here, being behind the number 39 Veloce car. And I'm surprised, because obviously we've only got really a few minutes left now for their second pit stop to be done. But yeah, I mean, we just noticed as well at the top of the leaderboard, the gap has really been closed down now by the 89 of PS Plus competition Lamborghini of Osterman. He's really died down now to just under 1.5 seconds. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens in the pit stops. Look at that, you're really, really close now. And I don't know about you, Matt, but I've got a good feeling about this 89 car. I think they're on for the win today.
Yeah, gap has been cut in half. I'd want to say it on that part there. Just fully gaining on the likes of the 255 competition with Minard on the wheel. It could be a mixture of Osterman being the fastest driver of them two. Could just be a mix. Could even just be the Lamborghini. It has better characteristics. But the likes of Osterman taking the pit lane early, along with the 255 competition, it's whether or not we'll see if either driver decide to double stint these tires or if they take the fuel, which means that the likes of the coach Dave Ferrari of Hubert Szymanski is taking the full lead of the race so far. we've seen them take. I think we've seen them take the lead once before at Kyalami, but it's whether or not they can hold that position well enough to be able to take full capitalization on the points, because they certainly do have enough to play here to gain a good spot in the championship.
Yeah, couldn't have put it any better, Matt. And as Jesse now shows off the BS Plus competition livery
This
here.
one's just stunning. I've gotta have to say, I've followed this team a few times before. I've seen through the livery changes through the years, and it's just always been stunning to watch this team grow and watch this team fight out in a lot of the other esports championships they've been part of.
Yeah, and I think we've got Szymanski for Coach Dave Academy's Ferrari here, taking the lead on what I would have thought would be their last lap before pits. They've definitely ticked the box of what I aim for in every race, and that's to lead at least one lap. It's just nice to have led a lap in a race, and I just wonder if this is one of their boxes they had to tick for today's race for their own personal goals. But I would have thought they'll be coming to pit lane now. Let's see if the undercut or the overcut works in this particular situation. They did have quite a gap to the leaders, so I think it's something like around about 8 seconds. So I don't anticipate them making any significant gains position-wise on track position anyway. As we can see now, they're clearly making the move for pit lane and basically following the rule book to the dot there. So hopefully they get it stopped in time, down to 50 k's as the Mustang behind, also doing the same for STR Esports there. Michael bringing it in, and hopefully everyone avoids the speeding in pit lane scenario. But Jesse's going to take his outboard again on the Coach Dave Academy car this time to see the livery for Coach Dave's Ferrari. So you've got a lot of sponsors on there, and another good. I mean, this is a very sort of stereotypical Coach Dave Academy livery, but it's nice to see being represented here in our series for the 6-hour esports series here at Watkins Glen. So yeah, I wonder how we get on in regards to these pit stops, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, it all sort of really depends on what's going to happen with the likes of strategy and what comes to play with. I mean, I'm currently watching on the back of the likes of 89. They've closed the gap completely. They're 8 attempts off to the 255 competition. So as we see the likes of the Coach Dave Academy card leaving the pit lane just now, no change in position from when the other 2 cars came in. So really good to see. Oh no, sorry, I have mistaken onto it. They are currently in P5, but with other cars coming into the pit lanes very shortly, they're certainly going to be trying to keep their spots nice and clean. Likes the 255 competition, got traffic at the minute, but the likes of the 89, you can see it, they're right at the back of them. The 255 is going to try and get past the likes of the lap traffic, but with it, try and get past track has taketh, track has giveth. So it all really really depends on how the likes of the 89 is going to get past the likes of 255, whether or not they get hindered or helped by the likes of the other Lamborghinis. So we'll see coming up for the likes of turn 8, and we go up towards turn 9. It looks like the 255 might be able to pull away just a little bit, but that gap was closed significantly more with 7 tenths between the likes of P2 and P1. It certainly is ramping up to be an exciting race so far with the likes of everybody else. Rinwelton, the 71, is currently in P4 at this very precise moment as well. Currently 8 seconds off the likes of Patel in the 32 Coach Dave Academy. So they've lost out a little bit, but again, it sort of really depends on what happens towards the last hour of the race.
Exactly, Matt, and it was interesting to see. Rovers really was not happy with that Lamborghini, the lap car there, getting in the way and potentially holding him up for this what essentially is the battle for the lead. So the BS Plus competition car not happy, but got past now, and it's all about getting these tyres up to temp, getting them in that operating window, and then making a charge for the lead. And there we go. We have a drive-through for Congretor in that number 49 G League Esports Elite team. Unfortunately, getting a drive-through. Go on, Matt, take it away.
Yeah, I just want to point out that our stewards do not give out drive-through penalties, so this will be this will be our first drive-through from Track Cuts. It's a
Yep.
little bit earlier than what the community series got from the first ever one, but it does happen to it can happen to the pros, it can happen to the amateurs. So it's sad to see that they have to take through a drive-through penalty, but it's just one of those things where that were to happen if you were to leave the track too often.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, it's not the most difficult track to get track limits at, but equally, it only takes a quick lift of the pedal, and normally you will get away without getting a warning. You might just get what we call no time gained appear on your screen, but no, in this instance, they've been given the drive-through, and as you said, it wouldn't be from the stewards. It's going to be a track limits excursion drive-through penalty. So. On that note, what we're going to do now is, as all the pit stops have been completed for the second time round, we've got just over 3 hours and 45 minutes remaining. Me and Matt and Jesse are going to take a short break, and we're going to leave you on board with the car that Jesse chooses. And if you just turn up the sound and enjoy the roaring of the engine on board with one of these teams, and we'll be back shortly.
Hello and welcome back to the RCI 6-hour esports event here at round 3 at Watkins Glen. Currently right now the 255 competition is still holding against the lead after their striking qualifying pole position here. But with the likes of the 89 Rolters trying to catch their way up from outside the top 10, it's certainly shaking up to be one of the most jam-packed and close races we've had so far this season. You join with me here, Matt Malcolm and Les Stephenson, along with Jesse Lee behind the cameras as well. Along in the other room, you've got our brilliant stewards included as well. Les, we've gone through for almost 3 hours of jam-packed action. What has been your most favourite takeaway from this race so far?
Well, firstly, thank you, Matt. I must say, I cannot believe we're almost halfway through this race already. But what can I take away from this so far? Well, what I can take away is the sheer speed and impressiveness of the 89 Lamborghini, the BS Plus competition car. It's impressive. It's impressive. They've, of course, they were given the 5-place grid penalty for joining the season. Joining the series mid-season. But they've taken it on the chin and they've gone for it, and I can really see them. To be honest, I can really see them getting the overall win. But currently, we've got Abeladze that seems to be putting a little bit of a gap out on Rotors here for the BS Plus competition car. Just being able to put a little bit of a gap. I think they were struggling. Lewis Rotors there was struggling a little bit with traffic, as we talked about before we went for break. You know, traffic is a bit of a problem at times. You know, you're relying on the teams and the drivers to look for those blue flags and allow the minimal time losses. We've seen a replay now of Shah trying to get around the Veloce 55 car. We've been told it is quite a long replay, so it may not be into turn 1 that we see something. It may be up through the S's towards the bus stop.
Over at turn 5 when I saw those yellow flags came out on. So yeah, on that point there, sorry to butt in, Les. Obviously, with the likes of these 3 cars here, with them really bumper to bumper action with the Gladius and the Veloce car in between the likes of this, it's certainly closer. It looks like Gladius is trying to get overlap over towards the Ferrari, trying to tie in the inside line, but it just looked like it just didn't turn and just completely taking both themselves and the Ferrari out of Shard. So that seems a little bit of just not judging the other car correctly when it came to getting around that corner there, Les.
Yeah, judgment was key there going into. We all know the bus stop. You just can't do too wide through there. You've got to concede. One of you's got to concede anyway. And seeing another move here potentially by the 20, but no, they stay behind the Visceral Esports Lamborghini for another lap. But it was, in my opinion, it was a little bit silly really going into wide. We all know it doesn't work, like I said, and it was proven with both cars going off. So both of them are lost out there, one not yielding and the other trying to force it up the inside. So it is what it is. It's I'm sure the stewards will be looking into that once it's reported, and they'll be making their expert decision on that matter, and we'll see what the outcome is, of course, in due course. But yeah, it's been a great race so far, hasn't it, Matt? I mean, we had a lot of it, not issues, but a lot of contacts and a lot of situations and incidents that happened in the first hour. We were quite shocked, weren't we? The amount of hard racing that was going on in that first hour. However, it's all calmed down a little bit since then. We've had 2 pit stops for every team so far. Unfortunately, we've had a few cars that have had to retire for various different reasons. But so it's a shame for them to see them not finish the race. But we've still got a lot of cars on track. We've got a lot of cars that are being lapped, and Abeladze it's lead cut by a little bit. But I don't know about you, Matt, but I really think this 89 could do this.
Oh, I have no doubt onto any of the abilities that Rotor can pull off a win. But again, he's got fierce competition here with Abeladze in the 255. Certainly is an capable driver compared to other teams onto there. He's certainly shown the pace. He's definitely pulled in the fastest lap as well with a 43.6 as well. So 43.61, just slightly edges over to the likes of Rotor's and the 89's best time. But it's certainly enough to steal that away from there. As another one, Tobias Grunwald from Renwelton, was amongst P4 when they started the race. Currently P5 by deciding to take the double stint at the very start of the race. So this could actually be a very key strategy call here, taking your double stint early so that way you can maximize the single stints in the cooler conditions. You can push those tires even harder than what you could have done when the track was at 32 degrees. But currently track is 25 degrees with a 7-kilometer-hour wind. We're still nice and bright and shiny. Sunny day here, so as we go in towards the evening, I have no doubt that the rain might hold off for the meantime.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look likely it's going to we're going to get any wet conditions, but we can't discount it. Yeah, I mean, we've seen with plenty of different strategies going on in today's race. We'll see how that pans out towards the end of today's race. Obviously, with the tyre strategies, you know, we mentioned earlier in the race about the graining that can happen and the double stinting that needs to happen, because obviously they're already limited to 4 tyre sets for this race. But yeah, it's great. You know, Glen, you know, they're right behind P4 and P3. We mentioned, you know, Coach Dave Academy's car doing well. I mean, look at Hutchinson, you know, in the 38. Mustang, you know, doing a great job as well in this top 5. P4 now trying to make a move on the 3rd position on Pertile in that Coach Dave Academy Ferrari, and the Mustang obviously using its grunt to get past. But it's all about the overlap. Can they get this? Can they make it work? And we all know too wide through here is not great, Matt. I'll let you take this away.
Yeah, definitely. As it looks like the Ferrari, both that Ferrari and the Mustang are going side by side action with the likes of Hudson, but there's been contact there. That's or just a real reaction on the curb there. Let's see if we can get a replay of that part there with David Patel in the Coach Dave Academy car, trying to take on the inside line, going around onto that part there where the curb sits. It's a little bit hard to tell exactly from that angle what it was exactly, whether or not it was the aggressiveness of that bounce in the curbs or if it was. But Jesse has come into my ear, there was no contact between any of those cars, so I was being I was being right when I was saying there was a violent reaction from those curbs.
Yeah, the Ferrari has suspension issues. No, that's not possible. No, it literally looked like it took that curve a bit too hard, and unfortunately for the Coach Dave Academy Ferrari, it ended up making them go extremely wide and almost spinning out, but they were able to recover it, and they're facing forward. That's the main thing. They're on the black stuff and they're facing forward. So currently P5. I still think it's a great showing though. I mean, you know, this Renwell car, you know, so consistent, and you know, with their different tyre strategy they appear to be playing. Is we got another replay now of Philip Nürnberger and the 769 it is. I think the RCI Bentley, a little bit of contact there as they go down into turn 8. And the Bentley probably going to get a better drive out there with the angle of attack it looked like they had anyway. And
just a love tap between them.
Yeah, I was right. You can see that Lawrence has actually got ahead. As we see another pass for overtake there. Poznik. Oh, there we go. Poznik. I can't even get my words out, Matt.
Yeah, it's shaping. Yeah, it's shaping up to be a really nice overlap. There seems to be. It looks like that the Ferrari, that's not Ferrari, the other Lamborghini of the Ace Attack has decided to give that position away, just not to risk it at all. Because it's just sometimes it's worth keeping that position to yourself, and sometimes it's not. As the likes of Grimwald looks to be trying to fight all the way just along traffic or alongside with Hutchison. It's just not in a great spot for the likes of Hutchison with the likes of Groswald right on the back of that Mustang there. But it's whether or not Aston is going to have the legs to beat out against the Mustang, because that Mustang has some very long legs when it comes to getting those straight line speeds. But it just seems to be that they're not able to hold it. But there looks to be an Ace Attack car on the likes of giving up position there. So there's a lot of traffic on this part of the section here as well. So it's whether or not these leading cars are going to have a little bit of contact at the back there with David Patel and the likes of the Lamborghini. I'm just trying to identify which Lamborghini that is of the Visceral Esports. A little bit squarely onto that part as well. It looks like Campanella of the 44 Lamborghini looks to be a little bit squirrely from It looks
I,
to me
I,
that
I,
you
I
just
think
can't get much control into it, isn't it?
I think that 44 Lamborghini has got problems. I think they may even be down pit road now. Yes, they are. I think they've had an incident. We haven't caught it on the live stream, but hopefully we can get a replay. It doesn't look like they had an incident. They were very slow going around turn 10, and of course, Dave Patel wasn't able to anticipate the slow movement. As we see a replay now of the 44, assuming this is going to be the incident we're talking about, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. This is the run up towards the likes of turn 5, but the replay just cuts short on that part there. So we'll definitely keep an eye out and see whether or not we can get a full replay as to what exactly happened with the 44.
Yeah. Of course, going back to the bus stop chicane with David Till, when it unfortunately ended up losing a little bit, a couple of positions basically, they had to prove me wrong, didn't they? We had to have the Hutchinson and Batal going too wide through the bus stop chicane just after I'd said you can't go too wide through there. So they proved they could. Unfortunately, obviously, the Coach Dave Academy car, Ferrari, was unable to keep behind and lost it on the curb. But you can do it then, Matt. I didn't think you could, but they proved me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these drivers have their own abilities, their own quirks, and just simply their own way of driving, which can be beneficial to a lot of other people. But again, some characteristics beat out others, whether you're more aggressive or more conservative and cautious. It's just depending on tracks and depending on the way that the situation presents, some characteristics are definitely better than others.
Yeah, no, we can see now that Jade Hutchinson has got Cromwell's in that 71 Ren Welton Aston Martin really closing up now, and I would not be surprised if they're extra close when it comes to the bus stop. It's all about the drive out of turn 1. It doesn't look like they've closed the gap enough. I don't think there's going to be any move just yet, but this is a close fought affair, and I think for Ren Welton and their strategy, it's key really to get past Hutchinson soon, so they can really make this strategy work going into into the final half of the race.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just having a little look towards the likes of Campanella in the 44, because we saw that there was an incident with the likes of that David Patel in the Coach Dave Academy car, but it seems to me on that same lap they were having an issue with the Coach Dave Academy car. They had some issue with their brakes to some degree or another, because when they came up towards the likes of turn 7, the car just suddenly snaps or just suddenly loses a lot of the speed immediately with the braking. And ever since then, they were just violently trying to control that car. They couldn't keep it on a straight line or anything. So I don't know if it's an issue with hardware issues or simply an issue when it comes to their an issue with the car. But from the looks of it, I think it's more of a hardware issue on the driver's part.
I mean, if that is the case, Matt, that's a great spot, because I had assumed it was an incident that caused them to be slow, and if that is the case, like I said, then that would explain a lot. To come down pit road and make a driver change if it is a hardware issue, then yeah, that would explain it. But as we see, we've still got Cromwell here in the Ren Welton Aston Martin, still trying to get on the back of that Mustang even, and it's probably getting rather frustrating now, lap after lap, just having that same gap, unable to make or get that point where they can actually get a move done. And I know that Hutchinson's got a lap car in front of him right now, so probably getting a bit of a tow as well, which is helping, but it's probably getting quite frustrating. Look how much they close up and through the chicane there, and just proving that the Mustang's not handling quite as well as the Aston Martin, and able to close in like that. And I think this is sector 2, I think, and towards the middle of sector 3 where they really are able to close that gap. And then of course the Mustang's able to stretch its legs towards the end of sector 3, and then obviously all of sector 1.
Yeah, definitely. It's all just trying to maximize it all through that, Les.
Yeah, of course it is. And like I said before, and I've said it many times, turn 1 is such an important corner in this track. Because let's be honest, let's say 90% of the moves that are done in today's race are most likely going to be on the run up to the bus stop chicane, because that is the most likely place and let's say the easiest place to get a move done. But I'm not saying for 1 second it's easy, but it's definitely the easier places to do it, as long as you've got a compliant car that you're trying to overtake, you will concede, of course, if it is close, and you try not to go too wide through that bus stop. But we're going to see another attempt now as they go down into turn one. This heavy braking zone, braking around the 200 meter board and trying to get it to that apex as best as possible, and then back on the pads. We see they're closer than ever now as they're trying to get the run up to this turn 5, the bus stop chicane. And you can just see the Mustang just opens up, and although now we definitely see the Aston Martin's definitely benefiting from the slipstream, and it's still not close enough though, Matt.
No, I mean, the Mustang just has more legs than the likes of the Aston Martin, so trying to get past the likes of turn 5 is not going to be the easiest thing unless the likes of the Mustang were to make a mistake at turn 1. But again, it really sort of matters more towards the likes of Sector 2 and Sector 3 when it comes to how the Aston really needs to play its own advantages at its play, especially with how well it can manage those corners much more efficiently than, say, of the likes of the Mustang with its boat-like characteristics as it goes sailing towards the high seas itself.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's because let's be honest, we're looking at 3 hours and 5 minutes or just over to go, so we're going to be getting close for more pit stops to come in, and which normally signals the end of our time as well, Matt, but which is coming close to. But yeah, it's I think they're probably going to want to get the move done before the pit stops, let's be honest. So if they can get, it's getting very close again, as you can see, as we go down the start finish straight down towards turn 1, getting ever so close. This is tricky, Matt, you know, trying to get the braking zone. Like I said before, when you're this close behind a car, you've got the effects of the aerodynamics obviously being in that tow, and he's going to want to get as close. If you can do what you did the lap before and get as close as they can and just try and keep behind them rather than trying to go around the side of them and losing a bit of grip, as we see now, is taking the optimal line, and it looks like
there's been a bit of indicating there. It looks like Hutchison, it looks like he's actually giving up the position here, as the Mustang has just did a little work. That's like I pointed out in the last lap. They just made a mistake at turn 1. Wasn't going to be able to defend that position at all. So it was smart letting that Ren Moulton car ahead, because it just means if they're able to get the better lineup against the next lap, it just means they're going to have a much better, cleaner overtake coming back over towards the likes of towards turn 5. But Ren Moulton puts himself back into the podium contention again, so that's meaning they can score as many points as they can secure and secure that lead in the championship nice and easily going through into likes of the round 4. But again, we're just coming up to the halfway mark, so anything can still happen between any of our 35 the drivers that are still racing on the track just now.
Yeah, it's I was surprised actually that Hutchinson conceded that. I mean, sensible racing, obviously. They know that the Ren Moulton car is quicker, but I've just noticed the gap. Look how much time lost the Ren Moulton car have lost to the leaders. You know, look at that, we've just completed the 100 laps. Yeah, anyway, you can see, you know, you've got a good sort of, I would say
18 seconds, I want to say, between themselves and the 255. Which, to be honest, if you go about it, at the end of their double stint, they were 12 seconds off the leaders. Being 18, losing 6 seconds in that stint isn't the end of the world. They can still gain a lot of time, because the 255 still thinks, I'm not sure if they've done any of their double stints yet, if I'm not mistaken. So it's still yet to decide how well it plays. It's just in my year, they've actually still yet to perform any double stints, and I think this will be the same story for the likes of the 89 or Rotor's BS Plus competition. So again, the next half of the race is all going to be dependent on how well they can manage the double stint. Yes, they've got an 18-second gap to the likes of the 71 with Moulton, but is that going to be a big enough gap for them to manage the 2 double stints they still need to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're 2 of the exact same cars. I mean, setup's obviously the only difference, but they've gone completely opposite when it comes to strategy. So it really will be interesting to see how that pans out. But we now see Emmanuel Tajuddin in that MG ITJ setups car, so they come around turn 8 there in that Ferrari. and they've got yeah, they have. They've got that Naldi, sorry, right behind them in that lovely colour. I do like that livery. Sorry, it looks like I believe they've actually made the move on the Mustang, so it's close anyway as they come around the latter part of the track. As we are getting ever so close now to this third set of pit stops, as we go around these last couple of corners. I don't see anyone pitting just yet. We have got a couple of penalties actually, Matt. If you want to read those out from the stewards when you're ready. But I've just noticed we've got a couple. So
yeah, certainly.
We've got a yellow flag. Sorry, Matt. We've actually got a yellow flag as well. At turn 6 after bus stop.
Yeah, certainly. As I'm not sure we'll be able to get a chance to see a replay of that incident happening, but it looks like if Jesse is correct by pointing over to this car, it looks like it'll be the Rim Welton for Friends car as Samuel Schler. This will be a longer replay, so that instead of happening at turn 5, we're starting all the way at turn 1 here. They're on their own at the minute, so they're keeping it clean through the likes of going through of turn 1, going through the uphill section towards the likes of turn 2, 3, and 4. With this section here, it's all quite plain, smooth sailing for the likes of the Ren Welton for Friends car, but it'll be interesting to see what sort of mistake they made towards the likes of turn 5. As they're coming up towards the 5, 400, 300 to board, they go towards the curb on here, take the inside curb, keeps it somewhat clean, but it's just a bad reaction going through the last curb, straight into the grass and into the wall part there. I saw the Puncher car make it almost exactly the same mistake earlier in the race, and they were able to stop, but that's a nasty damage at the front of their car, which it's just not going to make their race end well from that point there, Les. But before we round up towards the halfway point there, I'm just going to go over the remaining incidents that have appeared onto our screens. So, incident lap 76, turn 6 involving the 24 and the 99. The 5-second penalty has been given to car 99 for avoidable contact. Lap 76, turn 12 involving the 99 and the 24 again. A warning has been given to car 24 for avoidable contact. On lap 89, on turn 6, we have 202 and 72. 5 seconds for 72 with overtake with contact. And again, later on the next lap ahead, lap 90 in turn 5 involving the 202 and 72. 10 seconds for 72 for avoidable contact. On lap 90 turn 5, there's also another part there for the 202. A warning's been given to them for an unsafe rejoin. On the lap 92 turn 7 involving the 769 and the 1111, a warning's been given for the 1111 for aggressive driving, which, since they've been given 2 warnings, has been increased to 5-second time penalty because of that, because they've been given multiple warnings. But I'll round it off to you, Les, as we're coming towards the end of our part here commentating to this part of the race.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And I must say, this race so far has been it's been intriguing. I think it's probably the best word I can use. And you know, we've seen a lot of action. We've seen a couple of lead changes, and we're definitely seeing strategies really playing out today, and proving that the 4-tyre rule is really sort of making people think differently throughout the field. So, no, it's been a great race, and I just want to thank you very much, Matt, for joining me today. Matt, Malcolm, everyone, for a great co-commentary with myself, and it's been a real pleasure with Jesse behind the cameras and the live stewards as well. That have been very busy, actually. I've been looking through when you were reading that out, looking through the steward reporting, and there's been quite a lot of instances, actually, you know, just within 3 hours. So we're halfway through the race, everyone. We're going to have a very small break away whilst we swap over comms teams, and you will be you'll have, of course, my good friend Ted and Jesse Lee commentating, taking you through to the end of the race. With the lovely Kevin Boss behind the camera. So whilst we transition over to those guys, I just want to say a big thanks to everyone in chat as well for joining us, and a big hi to Ash Bibby and the likes of Sim Race for Life, and Michael Redford has just joined us as well in the chat. It's great to have you all joining us here, and like I said before, you know, if you want to leave a like and maybe even subscribe to the channel, that would be great, and everyone out on Twitch as well. So a big thank you from me and the rest of the team. It's been a real pleasure, and as always, I'll catch you all next time, and don't forget, keep tuned, stay tuned even, and we'll be right back.